Welcome everybody to the Black Sheep Perspective. Today is a very special day. I have a close friend of mine, somebody who I share a lot of common grounds with when it comes to the mixed martial arts world, the striking world, the boxing world. He's also somebody who, man, he's like one of those dudes that I should have been hanging with in another life or some shit like that. Every time we hang out, we vibe. Everybody, please give a big applause to Mikey Rodriguez. What's up, Mikey?
What's up, Wes?
I still got my boy Gus over here with me, of course, co-hosting like a motherfucker.
I'm a little quiet now because I'm still shook from Mikey's story from before when we were talking off camera.
Man, so everybody tuning in right now, I got to slow Mikey down. I got to slow Mikey down. He's got so much great shit to talk about, so many different things, upbringing, where it all started, backgrounds, what he used to see. It's going to be a great podcast, man. So, Mike, thank you for being here, dude. I reached out to you and you were like nothing. You were just, yeah, man, let's do it. When?
My pleasure.
I'm gonna interrupt real quick because you forgot to introduce. So Mikey is a boxing coach at one of the top gyms in the MMA world.
Yes.
If you are just a fan, you know who ATT is.
That's right, Coconut Creek for sure.
So let's start it there. That you're talking to somebody that actually knows his ish.
Well, he knows more than his ish, man. Been through a lot of fire, experienced a lot of wars. We're going to go into the background in regards to who made Mikey what he is. But before that, because of the introduction you just gave him, let's hear a little bit about this boxing background, where that whole thing started, what ended up bringing you to this fucking one of the world's best gyms. Give us a take on that, bro.
Well, essentially, it's just like this, Where I grew up, my neighborhood, at the time, boxing was a sport. I grew up in the inner city. I grew up in East Harlem, which is in New York. And just about every person I knew loved the sport of boxing. That was the sport, other than baseball. So it was either, in my neighborhood, it was either, you were a boxing fan or you were a baseball fan. There wasn't really anything else going on. I mean, you get some peripheral people with basketball, but it was all about, boxing.
Okay. And then, so who did you start young? Were you boxing on your own, or did you start, what was the tutelage? Where did all that come from?
Well, actually, like the first time I even put on gloves and hit a bag, I probably was maybe 9 years old. And which is, typical in my neighborhood. And at the time, my mom was dating someone who was involved in, combat sports, and he had a setup with, mats and heavy bags and stuff. So when we would visit there, that would be an activity for us to do. And so I just started that way. And then throughout the years, you go ahead and you begin to train. You're training with your friends. I mean, you train anywhere. We train in the alley. We train in the hallway of a building. It didn't make a difference where it was. It was just all up. And plus, another thing also is, not only was it a sport for us, it was a way of life, because where I grew up and how we grew up, people that garnered a lot of respect in my neighborhood are people who knew how to throw those hands.
Right.
And you had to know how to throw those hands.
Rough upbringing back then.
Yeah, like everybody else. I mean, common in those types of environments and neighborhoods. But it was like more of, you earned your respect on the street that way, and it would behoove you to have skills if you were out there on the street.
So that progressed, and then eventually, what brought you into actually coaching as a boxing coach, assisting or whatever it was when you were younger?
Well, I've always had periods where I was training. I've had periods where I wasn't training growing up. I was doing different things, getting into different things. Sometimes you get caught up in street life.
Right.
And everything else takes a back seat when you're involved in that.
Of course. You're
more focused on, what's going on in the neighborhood and how you're going to go ahead and, do your thing. So I would have periods of inactivity, or I didn't really do much as far as training. And then I would get back involved in a little bit of training, and then I wouldn't. But for me, it wasn't boxing and stuff like that. It wasn't about doing it for the sport and being regarded as being competitive, participating in competitions. I've had a few amateur fights, nothing extensive, but it wasn't about that for me. It was more about keeping on point because you're out there on the block.
Right.
You got to keep them skills up.
Right. So you weren't trying to chase a career. You were just trying to make sure you stayed sharp for what was very common to come your way in the streets, which was fight. And back then, they actually threw hands. They weren't fucking so quick to goddamn shoot. Now, maybe the mobsters, maybe the gangsters. I mean, I'm sure you saw that too, right? Back then?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Back in the day, I mean, everything was settled with the hands. I mean, everything. Fist fights, broad daylight, on the block, in the corner. That was a common occurrence. And that's how you got your respect.
That could have been a musical hook right there, though. That's a rap hook. Fist fights. Common. Right there every night.
More or less.
Pay attention, rappers, you fucking mumbling, jumbling motherfuckers.
Send me a royalty check.
Hey, keep it going though. But yeah, so that was common, and that's what happened.
Yeah, so it was common, and we just grew up that way. And don't forget now, also, a lot of people were fighting during that time and training because that's when Bruce Lee and the Kung Fu flicks was out.
Oh, okay. So,
oh my God, watching the Chinese Connection, Fist of Fury, all that, and you come out of the movie theater with your boys, and everybody's like throwing kicks.
Yo, by the way, Mikey, you and I are gonna get to vibe on a lot of things that my little young broski over here.
Yeah, I definitely won't.
Yeah,
I mean, Bruce Lee's definitely a big impact for me, but I wasn't around when it first.
But you're
came
24.
out. Yeah, I'm 24.
So. Mikey, you and I, we're fine.
We're
fine wine. We're fine wine.
We're older.
Sexy motherfuckers.
Oh, for sure. I've definitely reached a point in my life where it's probably at the peak.
Yo, hey, you know what? Before the podcast is completely done, we're gonna come up with a new way to answer. How old are you? Sexy as fuck.
I go with that one also.
Don't
worry about how old I am, baby. It's about how old I feel.
So how did your what was up with your parents in regards to this this upbringing that you were having up over here in Harlem and New York? How were they involved? Where was your dad? Where was your mom? How'd they feel about things like that? Because back then it was rough. People get involved, and if you saw some stuff, a lot of times parents were involved, or they looked the other way, or they didn't. How was that?
Well, I didn't grow up with my father. I may have seen my father in my whole entire life, probably not even 10 times. I grew up with my mother and my two other siblings at the time. And, we were just neighborhood kids. Mom was working, trying to do what she can do the best she can. And we more or less were like kids on the block. I mean, doing our own thing, figuring things out for ourselves and figuring things out by the people that were around us, the influences of the people that were around us. And not all of them were good, but that's the way it was back then. I mean, I'm a kid also. There was a program in New York called the Fresh Air Fund. And I'm a Fresh Air Fund kid, And the Fresh Air Fund was essentially a program for inner city kids who could go ahead and venture out of New York with a host family. It could be in the same state, upstate New York. It could be a different state, Massachusetts, Iowa. It didn't matter. They had host families that would take these inner city kids and have them for 2 weeks during the summertime. And I did that. I was a participant of that program for, I think, maybe 4 years or so. So each summer, I would go ahead and go with a host family. Actually, one family had me for 3 summers because they liked me.
What kind of impact do you think that had on you? Like, you're the only one who could describe that. Was that more of a little vacation from the norm because the streets was what it was? Was that more of a, what, I don't get this from mom. There is no dad. This is kind of cool.
It was honestly, it was a little bit of a vacation from the norm, and I think, looking back now, I can honestly say what it really helped me with it exposed me to a different way of living. It exposed me to a different group of people that did not live the way we lived in my neighborhood. These were, it was an awesome family. I remember the family name. They were from Cortland, New York, and I'll always give props to them because they treated me so well. Their name was the Pharaoh. Yeah, it was
Shout outs
Pharaoh.
to the Pharaohs.
Yeah, Pharaoh family, and the dad was I think his name was Sam Pharaoh. This is a long time ago, so forgive me if I'm not correct on his first name, but I believe it was Sam. But they were Pharaohs, and they were up in Cortland, New York, and they treated me so nice. They were so good to me, and my time spent with them was nothing but joy.
I remember when did you ever, Gus? You ever seen that it's not a special, but when Steve Harvey gave a shout out where he broke down just like exactly what you're doing right now. Well, you're not breaking down, but
to be honest with you,
you're holding back too.
Yeah, I'm holding a little back because as I was thinking about it, it's started to spark a little bit of emotion in me.
It takes you there.
Yeah.
So Steve Harvey was I think on this it was his show, and he was going through one of those awesome rants of his, of just like telling people you should this, you should that, but all that bullshit, not bullshit, but and somewhere there he was talking about don't ever forget where you come from and this and that. And he was getting in that, but you didn't see it about to take a flip the way it did, take a turn the way it did. He's like, you need this, you need that. Don't ever forget where you come from, this and that. Because even to this day, yeah, I'm rich, yeah, I'm this, yeah, I'm that, but I'll never forget. And boy, right, just that quick, he broke down. He broke down crying. It was like, holy shit, what's he talking about? And then he spoke about, he goes, these two white parents, these two white folks, I don't think they adopted him, but I think it was like something like what you just described. And that impacted his life forever. He would never forget that. He would never forget those two people. Well, matter of fact, fast forward, once he gave that story, his production crew went behind his back, found those two people.
Wow. And
then fucking surprised them with him. And he broke down even more. Do not look this shit up because we ain't trying to be in tears over here, right? But nah, for real. You don't need to look that up. No.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And I can relate. Trust me, I can relate because, like I said, it was probably something that I didn't realize at the time, but I can look back and understand that it was probably something that I needed in my life.
When did you lose contact with them? I'm assuming that you have.
Oh, so long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I was still a little boy.
Right. Okay. So when was the last time that you remember seeing? Was it 10, 12-ish, 13-ish?
I probably was maybe 10 years old, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. 10, I would say 10 years old.
It's crazy. A lot of, I don't want to say bad parents, but a lot of parents out there or people out there tend to overlook or undermine the just how big of an impact a young memory in the age of 10, 11, 12, something that just seems like, oh yeah, that's when, he's, no. Little do you know, 20, 30 years later, I never forgot about that. I'll always remember that. That changed me forever, People tend to overlook that too often, and they really shouldn't. I guess if you want to be a good human, you want to think, well, you know what, you don't know any better. That's what you want to think. You don't know any better, and that's why you're like that.
I think sometimes people overlook it, but I think sometimes that they just reached a certain point, or they haven't reached a certain point in their life where they can really appreciate it. That experience.
Yeah.
So, like, as for me, I remember that.
So does it almost make you feel sorry for them? Not feel sorry, but again, be more understanding as to why they can't feel where you're coming from?
Everybody's so different, with their feelings, their emotions, and their outlook on life. And I just can speak for myself. I'm a person who's in touch with my feelings and emotions, and sometimes I don't really understand some of them, and I try to understand, why I do things the way I do or the way I feel about certain things. I really try to get retrospective and look, okay, because I believe everything comes from, there's an origin for everything.
Yes.
So we have a starting point, and we have a sort of a continuing point and a finishing point. Everything in between leads me through those certain points in my life and leads me where I am today. So without all these things have taken place in my life, without all of them having taken place, I wouldn't be here right now today, Wes. We wouldn't be having this conversation. So my early experience from being a Fresh Air Fund kid and having exposure to different people, which provided me with the ability to go ahead and see that there's an alternate way of living. There are other options out there. And so I was able, through that experience of learning, to make choices and decisions that were better for me. I'm not saying every decision I've made in life has been good, because Lord knows I've made some wrong decisions in my life. And I'm not trying to make them now, but everything has its place. And through that, I'm a firm believer. If it wasn't for those situations, I wouldn't be in this situation right now. Like I had to skip a little bit forward, I remember a teacher of mine. I'll never forget his name. His name was Mr. Wiest. His name is Bill Wiest. And he was a school teacher up in the Bronx. And he was married and never had any children of his own. But he actually took an interest in me. He saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. And he was a good man.
He obviously had a really good impact on you, obviously. And it's something that you bring with you,
Oh, yes. He used to tell me all the time, he used to say, look, you can do anything you want. You can be as successful as you want. You have no limits. He used to tell me this all the time. I didn't even believe it in myself, because, you don't have people in my neighborhood weren't talking to me like that.
This was an actual teacher?
My teacher in junior high school. In
junior high, okay.
Yeah. He was a junior high school teacher of mine that he saw something special in me, and he tried to sort of mentor me, and to, I guess, being a good man, being something.
Right. Fatherly figure.
Being something positive. We never discussed, what it was and stuff like that, but I knew that he cared. Maybe he knew some of my story. Maybe he knew something about me that I didn't tell him. Maybe somebody else told him. And maybe he thought that, this kid just needs a break, But he was a real good guy. Very good. I'll never forget that guy.
Was that junior high? I went to a lot of people don't know the school here, but I went to Palmetto. I bounced around to different schools because I grew up in the hood, down South Miami area, Perrine area, South Miami Heights. For anybody who knows Carib Villas, shit was really bad back then. I was born in '77, late '70s, early '80s. That's the cocaine cowboy days. Shit was wild. A lot of gang shit back then. So my mom never wanted us to go to the schools that we had to go to in our neighborhood. So she met somebody through somebody who let us use their address and say that we were renting an efficiency. That way we can go to a better school. Bless her heart, do what she can to send us to a better school. We don't forget the teachers that we come across and all that stuff. I never knew what a real junior high was compared to a high school, because I went to a Catholic school. She wanted to clean us up, bro. We were bad. So I went to a Catholic school, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And yes, it was a little bit higher learning. It was. And yes, it was a good impact. It definitely was. But I didn't get the junior high feeling, and I didn't know what the difference was of junior high going into high school. This teacher that you speak of, how long was he in your life? Junior high wise, was that 8th and 9th, or was that 7th, 8th? Like, what was that?
Well, in the New York City school system at the time, you had elementary school, which was essentially 1st through 6th grade.
That's what it used to be with me, right?
Right, and then junior high was 7th through 9th.
Okay.
And then high school was 10th through 12th.
That makes sense. Right. Yes.
So this particular teacher was. I was involved with as far as him having an impact on my life was in 9th grade. So it was only a year, and but I've never experienced
that big of an influence.
That big of an influence. A teacher who actually cared for someone that much. One of his students.
Do you have any possibility? Do you have any way of somewhat realizing how old he was back then? Because, there's such an array of ages for teachers. Nowadays, they're very young. Nowadays, they're like
really, really young.
Like literally 26 on up to like mid-30s. You don't get those older range ones.
I would say because it was funny because we used to call him Kenny Rogers. Because he looked like Kenny Rogers.
He had the look. Do you know who Kenny Rogers is, Gus?
Yes, of course.
Don't get mad at us.
Not that young.
He had the beard. He had the hair, same style. He was a good paddleball player because he used to take me to play paddleball too. Man, he used to kick my ass.
Hold on, when you say paddleball,
I mean, I'm not
table
even
tennis?
paddleball. Not paddleball. Excuse me. Handball.
Ooh, have you played in a while?
The last time I played handball was I played with my nephew like a few years back.
Man, Mikey, we might have to bring that back.
But me and him,
bro.
we were going
A
back
lot of
and
people
forth.
don't know what that is, though.
Bro, that shit. Okay, just
Especially nowadays, the kids are always playing.
all right. So people out
games.
there listening, handball is racquetball with your hand, but there is two versions. You have the street version, which is you use the racquetball. That way, your hand can impact it, and yes, you're gonna pop blood vessels, and you get used to it and all that. But that's it. You might put a glove on if you're a bitch, whatever. Now the real handball, you use a little hard fucking ball. There's no slapping that shit.
It's an Olympic sport too.
Yeah, and you have to wear a glove, which I think is padded or has a little padding. I don't know.
Probably has a little liner.
Yeah, it has a little liner so that the impact is different, which is still dope. But anyhow, a fucking phenomenal sport. I picked that shit up when I was in the joint, and it was some of the funnest shit I've ever done in my life.
I was about to say,
and I'm good, by the way.
Wes, I was about to say, you know what handball is if you did a bid.
Oh, you in New York?
Or you're in New York.
Yeah, that's true.
For sure.
It's so true, bro.
If you look at it.
Homie, every time when I've gone to play handball back in the days, probably a few years back, I don't know how long, but anyhow, first thing they ask is, you from New York? No. Where'd you learn this? Prison? Oh, okay. And then we keep playing, and that's it.
Let me give the audience a little bit of it, sort of, maybe they can identify what we're talking about here. If you ever watched the movie American Me,
gangster, bro. Hold on,
Gangster
pause.
as
I'm
fuck.
sorry, Mikey. I gotta pause you, bro. This is why I love this dude, and I never get to hang with him because he fucking lives up there in Boca. No one ever brings up that fucking movie. That's one of the best prison movies ever. That's an accurate, dope ass, gangster ass.
Never seen that
fucking
movie.
watch it, dog, because you're the little boy who gets raped in that shit.
Yo,
I'm just saying, dude.
there, dog?
little puppet.
Little puppet.
Yo, what's wrong with you? Why? Because
Gus, you gotta peep that movie. You gotta
no,
peep
for
it.
real, dog. I'm not
I've
lying.
never-
This
damn
ain't old
movies-
man talk, dog.
and
This
it's-
ain't old man talk. That is a gangster ass, dope ass, one of the
it's not
best
that
prison
old
movies
either.
ever.
It was only made 2 years before I was born.
Well,
not
the
that old.
movie is supposed to be about the history of La M, which is the Mexican mafia.
Right.
But there was some
It says-
controversy.
Yeah, it's
there.
inspired by a true story.
Right, but some controversy as far as some of the factual events that
Yeah.
actually happened, which caused problems for some of the people that were involved in the movie, production-wise, and people who were advisors. Some of those advisors were
You
killed.
remember that shit too, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
Oh yeah, but so what I'm getting at is that in one of the scenes when they're at the juvie detention facility and they transition, where they transition and they fade into the adult facility, and this music,
dope ass production when they show that. Dude.
music comes on, right, and it's like, and then you see it. The kids in the juvie detention facility, they're playing handball, and then the transition, it fades into the adult facility, the
playing
big
handball.
house, rocking it, playing handball.
Listen, what happened? I'm not gonna kill the movie for you, I promise you. But as juveniles, they all did a crime. They all went to juvie. They're in juvie. They're close to getting out because it's like a 2-year bid, whatever. And then they one of those big delinquent juveniles, which this is official. This is like the prison that I went to. It's all 14 to 18 is your average age. One of the big dudes jumped up on this kid. He did rape him. He raped him.
But that's not a factual. That's not a factual incident, and that's what caused.
Well, I'm not saying that actually happened to him, but in the movie, the dude raped him, and when he walks away, the jit flips on him, bum rushes him, and damn near kills him or killed him.
No, he killed him. He stabbed him, shanked him up in the neck.
So they gave him. So he went in for a 3-year bid.
Which one is it?
He went that one right there.
This guy?
Yep. No.
No,
Well,
that's-
they're the homeboys.
Look,
These two are the homeboys with these three are the originals right here.
Right. The white guy there you see on the screen, that character is actually was a guy by the name of Joe Morgan. Joe Morgan was actually a white guy who grew up with Mexicans, who was actually one of the founding members of La M. And,
wow. Dude, I'm trying to tell you, that shit is so raw, man. That is such a great, because they eventually get out. It's not all prison. It's hood, young days, juvenile detention, prison, out, prison, out. Fucking finale. Dog, that shit is stupid, man. It is so good. Anybody out there listening, if you like prison movies, and not to say that you're supposed to, but this is a classic. This is one of the best.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, like I think Shawshank Redemption is one of the best ever, and this is a totally different type of prison movie because it's based on the West Coast, gang violence, all that. Shawshank was based on what, like 1920s maybe.
I'm not even sure.
1940s.
To be honest, I never even saw the movie.
Get the fuck out of here.
You haven't seen Shawshank Redemption?
Mikey,
Mikey, I don't want to see you again until you see that, okay?
No,
I plan to see you soon. So go watch that shit.
I'll peep it.
But anyhow,
that's one of the best movies.
Yeah, no, it is, and then that's another realistic. Listen, I can tell you guys this. I'm not trying to brag or anything like that, but because I did prison time, every prison is different, every area is different. Yes, the West Coast is very different. They're very segregated, very gang affiliated. Not gang affiliated like there's that many gangs, but they're very segregated, so that makes you become part of a gang. It's white, Mexican, black. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you're not Mexican, you're running with them. So you get forced into that shit. It's not like that on the East Coast that much, at least not the southern East Coast. You go north, I don't know. Rikers Island and all that, I don't know. I don't know what the gang shit is over there. But it's definitely not like the movies. The only thing that's like the movies is if you walk in like a bitch ass dude who's, you can be swayed, you can be shook, you can be scared, you can be whatever, taken advantage of, you're going to have somebody who wants to take advantage of you. That doesn't mean they're going to fuck you, but they're going to try to take your money. They're going to try to act like your best friend.
You'll be doing their laundry.
They try to do that to anybody.
No, I'm saying, did that happen? That whole hold my pocket?
No, bro. That's so fucking...
Because I'll be honest, one of my favorite shows is Prison Break. And I feel like that's, to me, that's the closest I get to prison.
when I was locked up, I kept hearing about Oz. The Oz. And they kept telling me, and bro, do not, I'm trying to be honest, don't look it up. There's a character in there who looks just like me. And I'm like, nah.
You can't tell me.
And I fucking, bro, eventually I see the guy and I'm like, cocksucker, he looks like me. Fuck him. But anyhow, the Oz was like the shit, Mikey. Like everybody loved it. It was the shit. Yeah. I get out and I literally caught the season-ending episode of, I think, season 3 or whatever, and it was a 2-hour episode. I was so nauseated. I was so like, man, that is so opposite of what prison is. It was just so fucking beyond opposite that I didn't care 3 shits for it. I thought it was whack, but the homie did look like me.
They said you look like this one.
If the camera gets that, when we get to run it back, I'm gonna beat your ass when I get to show people how you tried me.
Nah, you know what? I saw Oz, and it was.
It's not to say it's not entertaining.
It was
entertaining.
It was entertainment, but I mean, it's actually I worked in a prison my first year in law enforcement, so I know what goes on and what doesn't.
I used to work in a prison too.
Really?
Shockingly, yeah. I worked at the Homeland Security prison.
When was
all
this?
The inmates. I was there when Griselda Blanco's son was there.
What was that little? I'm not gonna say nothing wrong because I don't want to get fucked up.
I think we share the same.
I don't want to get killed. Yeah, what I was about to say. I'm trying to get some fucking. I'm so whack at this Instagram thing. I'm trying to get some live footage here, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Not on that calculator. It won't get done.
Fuck you, bro.
Your Instagram is not up to par.
No, he's talking about my phone.
His phone. That guy's got a potato.
Listen, to anybody listening to this cocksucker, all right, keep it real with whatever it is you got. All right, I don't care if it's a laptop, a phone or not.
This man has every up-to-date thing in this podcast, and then he has a 1984 Android.
That looks like a flip phone.
Hey, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't even know how to go live, bro. How do you go live over here? I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing.
On Instagram, there's the one that has a little television looking thing.
Yeah.
The icon.
Anyhow, we didn't get off track because this is what we meant to do.
Here.
Mikey. So let's keep going. Let's keep moving in the direction of. Am I allowed to tilt it this way, or is it going to be backwards? I should go this way, right?
Turn the camera.
Hey, yeah.
Let me.
I don't know that it's gonna.
Let me give it to me. That way I put it that way.
All right. However you get. I want to get Mikey on there. All right. So everything worked this way, and at some point, you wanted to bring your ass over here to Florida. But first of all, I know that earlier we were talking, and you and I we did kind of a phone, not interview because I know you so well, but no one knows you that well. You got so much to you, you know, that I got to try to squeeze everything I can out of you. So let's give people a little bit more backdrop on you. You mentioned that you joined the military. I know that you became part of law enforcement. Kind of walk us through that. So here you are, fucking around on the streets, but you're kind of cleaning it up. Kind of, you know, getting caught up in the middle of a little bit of, you know, tug of war influences. Happens to a lot of us who grew up in the hoods and in certain time frames that a lot of people don't know about or understand. But somehow, shape, or form, you decided to join the military. Take us from that point on.
Well, I'll backtrack a little bit, but what happened is like it's essentially like this. You know, I grew up in an environment that, like a lot of other kids, everybody else in my neighborhood or neighborhoods throughout the country, you know, we grew up in these neighborhoods. For me, it was inner city. It was in New York. It was in East Harlem and the Bronx. And, you know, you get caught up sometimes in life. You get caught up in the street. You know, your influences aren't necessarily the best influences. Like I had a lot of people with me or was, you know, around me while I was part of their crew. That, you know, these guys did, you know, bids up in Attica, you know, Sing Sing, you know, upstate, you know, Rikers. So that was the guys who I was around, but that was my neighborhood. But at some point, and I'm going to go back to having had exposure to a different way of living, to different people, to different lifestyles. At some point in my life, I just decided that, you know what, I know where this type of life, the street life, is going to lead.
Right.
You know, I've seen it many times, you know, and I just wanted something more for myself. You know, I got tired of involving myself with the things that go on, you know, in the street, you know, and trust me, I'm no angel. I'm an angel now.
What's going on, beautiful people? Just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone out there for tuning in. We continue getting so much love, support, and appreciate every bit of it. But on that note, if you're a new listener or simply someone who's interested in following our journey, please take a minute to subscribe to our channel or download whatever necessary app in order to never miss a show. Also, why not give us a follow on Instagram at BlackSheep305 and at Gus Villamil. Again, we truly appreciate all the love and support and look forward to continuously giving everyone listening a different perspective. Now let's get back to the podcast. We're back. Mikey's looking smoother than ever. He never breaks character. So, Mike, you were telling us about the upbringing and how that got you into making the decisions of, okay, if I keep going this route, this is pretty much where it leads. It was a no-brainer as to, like, you needed some type of change. So the choices began to come out of you. You started contemplating what?
Yeah, at a certain point in my life, it was like, you know, I had already been out there, you know, on, you know, what I say on the block, you know, doing my thing, doing what everybody else on my block was doing. All my boys, you know, the whole crew, we're all doing the same thing. But the one difference for me was that, you know, I had some exposure to different things in life and different people. And
a certain incident was the one that did something.
Yeah, I mean, there was a series of incidents, like you see, you know, your boys getting shot, you know, you got your boys getting locked up doing bids, you know, your boys coming out from doing a bid and sharing a bunk bed with their little brother, you know, at their mom's place. And these guys, most of them were older than me. They were already in their in like 20s and stuff like that. And I just would look at that situation and then say to myself, you know what, I want something more out of my life. You know, I don't want to end up like, you know, my boy this one or my boy that one. So, you know, so I had some thinking to do. And then there was one particular incident that really, you know, was the straw that broke the camel's back. And, you know, during this time in New York City, there was still, this is like before they had TNT, Tactical Narcotics Team, and all that in the NYPD. This is before that. So before that, they used to have open air market. You know,
I remember I saw a special on that, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, TNT.
TNT, yeah, very known,
Yes.
very known to the street people. Very known.
So they had.
By the way, Gus, if you don't know, do you know what that is? I'm not trying to insult you.
Yeah, I know because of my dad.
Yeah, like they were known for like going overboard. They were known for jacking dudes up and beating their ass and doing all that. Motherfucker, you're gonna tell us who this, that, whatever.
Oh,
So,
that was a common thing in
yeah.
back in the day.
Like they got the green light to whoop gangsters' ass and, you know, pull the pistol out and shit like that in order to get results. So
Oh man, I've been nightclub myself. Boom, top of the head, the ribs choked. I mean, all of the stuff.
They used to call they had a nickname for them, the CRB instead, Civil Right Breakers.
Oh really?
oh man, I didn't know that one.
And back in New York in my day, they were just known as the police.
Yeah.
but anyway, getting back to the story.
Right.
So you know, like growing up, and I mean, this is common for, you know, neighborhoods like this and kids like me at that
Right,
time, and you
right.
know, my environment. But there was one particular incident that I recall, you know, vividly. This was the time during open air market, drug dealing. People were dealing drugs on the corner, broad daylight. Customers lined up, like literally a line of people lined up. You know, just doing their thing. So there was this one individual. I don't even know his name.
Question, Mikey. Sorry to interrupt. I'm trying to put a little bit of math together. Was this? But I'm not. I'm a ginormous fan of the movie American Gangster. God fucking damn, I love that movie.
That's in Denzel.
Was that closely
That was
the same
after.
time frame?
It
Or
would be-
that was right before molding into yours, or
It would be my time frame would be somewhat after.
after? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
somewhat not that far after, but sometime after.
Yeah, shortly after for
Yeah.
sure. Because the heroin meth phase, heroin.
Well,
phase.
this is the time period I'm talking about. My incident was we're talking about in particular. Let me see, 1981.
Damn, dude, American Gangster was around.
It was before that
Yeah,
also.
it was like 50s, 60s.
It went from that time all the way up into, like, you know, the I believe 70s.
Okay,
late 70s.
okay. Continue. My bad.
So so during that time,
I thought you were gonna tell me like you fucking sold Booby a goddamn nickel bag.
so what happened is that so in my neighborhood, pretty much everybody, was doing their thing.
Right.
Slinging,
whatever.
Slinging.
Right.
Everybody was slinging.
Right.
Just about everybody. If somebody wasn't slinging, they didn't have any new gear, no fresh gear, no new sneakers, no nothing. But if they had everything fresh, the Kangos, sheepskins, gazelles, suede 69ers, Adidas, tracksuits, you were
Love
slinging.
it, bro. He just used like 4 terms that you don't even understand.
Not that young.
It's all right. So now, it was during that time. So there was this dude, I never even seen him before. But, in my neighborhood, there was like essentially like 3 crews.
Okay.
I was with one crew, there was another crew, and there was another crew off to the side, a little bit down the street. But I was good with all 3 of them. I've always been good with all. Listen, every place I've gone, I've always been good with people. So I can go ahead and chill with this crew here. I can go to the next crew, and I know people there cooling out with them, people that ran shit, So, I was always good to go.
Right.
It could be, I can go ahead and go from my neighborhood, right, to I can go say like Bronxdale Projects, and I knew people there that I went to school with when we were younger, and those guys were cool. So they're running stuff up in the projects, and I can go in there and I'm just chilling because I'm cool with them, or even the Castle Hill Projects, You know, I won't mention the names, but there was, but guys I went when I was younger with, we used to hang out and, went to school together. They later on started running shit up in there.
Right.
So I can go over there like with no problem. And that was rare back in the day. You didn't jump like, cross lines into different neighborhoods, like that.
Well, I'm sure it speaks volumes about your character. If for a couple of different crews that are obviously opposed to each other can vibe with one individual, then that's common ground there. So I think if anything, that at least that's a compliment of he's not a threat. He's at least a certain neutral level of positivity. So we're cool with it.
Yeah,
we're not. We're not. So
it was cool because a lot of people didn't have that. So it was something that I definitely enjoyed.
So during that
time, some guy I didn't even know where he was from. He comes into the neighborhood, right? He was a unlicensed pharmacist.
Okay.
And
what kind of shit is that? He must think the house is wired or something.
Yeah.
Tapped.
So I guess he came into the neighborhood and thinking that he can go ahead and just do his thing there, and it was like, and he started to, for a little bit. And I'm like, who's this dude? You can't just come into there like that, because guys in my neighborhood and people I knew, actually fought for that position, fought for that area, for that little territory. And you're going to come out an outsider and think you could come in here and do your thing? I mean, maybe you knew somebody on the block, but that wasn't enough.
Right.
You know how it is. I'm a firm believer in everything. You have to pay your dues. You just don't walk up on the scene and think that you belong there. Right. And that goes as far as like everything in my life, even training. We'll get to that later. But I see a bunch of these so-called people coming into the game of combat sports and trainers and all this shit that ain't pay their dues, and I have a problem with it.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will.
But the whole thing is,
we're so premature right now. Can't wait.
So this guy came in there, and he thought he could do his thing and whatever it was, and I just didn't like it, and I wasn't vibing with it. So I more or less like freed him of his possessions. You know what I mean? It was broad daylight. Just went up to him, bam, just freed him of his possessions.
What are these terms he keeps fucking using? Does that mean you jacked him? The fuck kind of shit? Freedom of his possessions. What kind of? Him. That's what that sounded like, right? Freedom of his possessions.
Yeah, I liberated him. Put it that way.
I liberated.
So.
I bid thee unworthy of continuing to maintain these narcotics. Therefore,
yeah, he had to pay that tax. So that happened, right? And so what happened after that? Then I did my thing, and
so you fucking hurt the dude. You must have felt bad.
No, I didn't feel bad, man. To be honest with you, I didn't feel bad. I just went ahead and did what I had to do for for what I thought was the neighborhood, for the integrity of the neighborhood, for the block. For the crew,
mm-hmm.
And so I just did that, and then lay low for a couple of days. When something like that happens, you gotta lay low for a couple of days. Be out of sight. So then
keep saying to all of this. I don't know none of this shit.
Wes knows.
I don't know.
He just got me indicted. He just got me indicted with that statement. I wanted to post this podcast. He just fucking got me indicted.
So after everything goes, I'm here like, I don't know.
Hey, hashtag,
Yeah, for real.
So what happens is like, so then I come back, to the block, and because I never hung out where I lived.
Okay.
The block where I chilled and did, my thing. I never lived on the block. That's
Right. You don't shit where you eat.
Yeah, it's not smart.
Right.
So I came back to the block and somebody's like, "Hey, man,
Gus, you heard that? You don't shit where you eat.
Mm-hmm.
You're leaving fucking stains all over the job site, bro. Okay. I just want to point that out.
All right, that has nothing.
Go ahead, Mike.
Keep
Keep going. Keep going.
So a couple of my people from the neighborhood's like, "Yo, this dude came around. He was looking for you." I'm like, he was packing. I was like, "Oh, really?" So I was like, "All right." So I don't know how I don't know how he knew it was me in particular, but somebody had to say something.
Right.
But whatever. You know, at that time in my life, man, I didn't really give a shit. You know how we used to say back in the day was like, this heart don't pump Kool-Aid.
Right.
You know?
Damn, that's
So,
an old school saying.
yeah.
That just made me feel old.
Yes. So, you know, I was like, all right, whatever. So he's coming around. What, he's packing? All right, no problem. I went ahead and got, went ahead and saw my boy. You know, my boy brought me to someplace else. I had to get my little toolie. And then, I used to...
All right. Let's pause there. What's a toolie?
My particular toolie would have been a nice little something that would have put a blast hole in him.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Toolie's a gun.
yeah, 22.
No,
Is
no,
that-
no,
is
no.
that
Sort
toolie?
off, sort off.
Sawed off. This guy's fucking trying to
I
splat.
feel like I'm watching a movie
He
right
wants
now.
to splat.
Yeah. So and then I went ahead and provided myself with the necessary tools, and my life didn't stop, skipping a beat. I just continued on doing what I was doing, but I always had my thing with me, and I was always, I had to always constantly be like looking left, looking right, looking behind, so my head was on the swivel, and I was like, all right, I was doing this for a while, for a couple months, and I was like, this is getting played out.
Yeah.
And then one of the
It's a huge weight to carry on your shoulders.
yeah, it's a huge weight, it's like, I mean, people.
You can be as tough as you want, and I didn't carry that weight, but I hustled for a long time, and I'm not taking no spotlight, but it's just a huge. You feel dope. You feel like, fuck it, this is my life. This is what I do. Blah 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 blah. But man, there's nights, there's days, there's after a week or two or an incident, and you're like, fuck, dude, I just want to get this shit off my shoulders for a minute, man.
It definitely, once it definitely is a burden. And what happens also is like, you say to yourself, look, I know the outcome here. There's one or two things.
It's mathematical.
Oh, actually,
bro.
one of three things are going to happen. It's either he kills me, I kill him, or if I kill him and don't get away with it, I go to prison. And so I'm like, I didn't want that for my life. I wanted to live life,
Right.
So I just made the decision that I needed something different. And during that time, it was crazy because I had an old friend of mine come through my neighborhood, and he was talking to me. He said he's going in the military. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, man, I'm going to go in the military. So I was like, oh. He goes, come on, go with me. I go with me. We'll go up for the buddy program. Let's go to the recruiter, which was the recruiter station was on the Grand Concourse in the Bronx off of Fordham Road. And so I'm like, all right.
The boy didn't have no sugar in his tank, right?
No. My boy was from Casio Projects. He's one of those dudes that decided to make a change for his life as well.
Nice.
The only thing is that he didn't make the change. We went to the recruiter, and I wound up going, and he didn't.
He didn't go that morning, or
No, we went to the recruiter. We actually, my first option was we went to a couple of recruiters. One recruiter was not an option. That was the Air Force. I'm not down with that. Then the
why is that? Just because you don't want to be in planes or goddamn boat the whole time?
No, it just wasn't the Air Force. It just wasn't down with it. My first option was the Marine recruiter, but then
Okay.
But what happened? Is
No, I get you on that. If I was going to go that route, I wouldn't want to go Air Force neither.
yeah, but then it was just like the Marine recruiter was
Your
like,
little ass fits in the
Yeah.
plane.
Now I almost joined the Marines. I swear I did.
Word?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
no, I actually, so we went to recruiter, but actually the Marine recruiter couldn't take us because during certain periods, if you know anything about like recruiting in the military during that time and even up to the 80s, they have certain like criteria quotas that they have to fill.
Okay.
And for that time frame, I didn't meet the criteria quota that he had to fill.
Okay.
So that wasn't an option for me. So there was the Army or there was the Navy. The Army guy, I knew guys, friends of mine that went in the Army, and I wasn't hearing any good stories about it. So I was like, and then we're walking away. And there's this little sly Navy recruiter there, like almost like a pimp. He's like, we're walking by.
He had a mean crease on his blue pants.
We're walking by, and he's like, hey, what's up, man? I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, what? Nah, we just went over
He's
there.
like, you got a mean walk there, John Turkey.
So he says, come on in, let's talk. And blah, blah, we're talking. I'm like, then I explained to him what happened. He goes, well, we can talk, because I guess for his quota criteria during that time period, it was more flexible.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, Anthony, so, what type of, career you're looking to get into? I was like, crap, bro, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. I never even thought about it, to be honest with you. I never even considered it. So it was like, I don't know. So he has me take this little aptitude test, and he breaks out this little book of jobs that it could be, that I could go ahead and get,
right,
based upon my aptitude score. And the only one, actually, to be honest with you, that looked appealing for me was the one was for ordnance, bombs, munitions, and explosives. And I was like, ooh, this looks like fun.
Right.
So that's what I selected.
Nice.
So, long story short, I went through the process. I mean, I was gone shortly thereafter.
So this is the Navy.
Yeah.
And what'd you do?
I was an ordnanceman, which is, munitions, explosives, and stuff like that. And I
2-4 years. I don't know.
No, actually, I was actually in 6 years and 9 months.
6 years and 9 months. How does that happen? Do they have a certain amount of years? Don't they have a certain term you choose?
Yeah, I mean,
at
the time,
but they're all different, right? Or no?
Well,
No.
they can't. It depends on the job field, also.
Oh, right.
It may
right.
have changed
Okay.
from the time that I was in, but it depends on the job field and the commitment of service you have to give. There was like 3 years, 4 years, 6 years. So I was like, the 3-year option wasn't available, and there was a 4 or 6. I was like, I ain't gonna do it 6 years. I said, let me just jump on the 4. 4 years would be a good time for me to get my shit together.
Right.
Get my life right, set up my things that I want to do in life, and see what happens, go for there. So I did that, and then, I went in and then I wound up re-enlisting at one point, and then
So you did a 4 and then a 2?
I did a 4 and then a 2-year 9 month.
And the 9 month was just a slow process of getting out?
Well, the 2-year 9 months was just the second enlistment. It was just it was during that time that I really discovered that okay, I've gotten all that I want out of this. And I really didn't want to, go any further. I wanted to, explore some other options for myself in life.
Did you get knee deep into any bullshit? I don't mean personally, but obviously you could talk about that as well. But I mean more so as during that time period.
No, because during this time period, there wasn't what's going on right now. Thankfully, I mean, a post 9/11, So it's thankfully that, because it's just it was a different time period and stuff like that. But I did my enlistment, and then did my time, and then I just decided to go ahead and explore some other some life options, some different life options. I didn't want to.
So when you got out, first of all, were you like deep in the water? Were you floating around for the long time?
Well, I wasn't in it.
Was it miserable? Was it all right? Was it fun?
I mean, I was in an attack squadron, so I mean, I used to deploy. We used to, it could be on land or it could be at sea. So it depended on what you were doing. I had some really good times when I was in the service. I made some really good friends.
Right.
I mean, lifelong friends. I mean, I'll tell you, and any veteran will tell you this.
Yeah.
The bond that you make with your brothers, and now I have sisters. When I was in, there were no women assigned with, like, in units like mine.
Right.
No, it was all men. But now it's like the bond that you form and you make with your brothers and sisters, stuff like that. That's a bond that you don't get. Honestly, you don't make anywhere else. It's very hard. I even doubt that you can.
I think the only thing comparable to that is what you're involved in, and that's MMA.
Yeah, but these bonds with the military,
of course, it's different, because you're talking about whether it's life-threatening situations, or at any point we might be in life-threatening situations. These people, they grind it out. They go through stuff that no one else encounters unless they're part of that.
Yeah, and you have to depend. Listen, when you're there, you depend literally on the person to your left and right, in front of you and behind you. So it's like one little mishap, and then you can be, something bad can happen. So.
So when you got back, well, first of all, before you got back, what was the game plan as you were getting ready to get out? You were on your 6 year, going on 9 months. I'm sure before the 9 months was even approaching, you were already thinking about what you were gonna hopefully to do. I don't know if that's what you did, but what was that mind frame?
Oh yeah, first into my 5th year, I already knew that I'm gonna get out. And in my last tour, I was in a joint service command, so I was with guys from Marines, Army, and fellow Navy, Air Force people. We were all one part of one group. So now, my senior enlisted advisor was actually an Army first sergeant, and so I actually told him, "Listen, I already know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get out, and I'm going to pursue, life in the civilian world." And he tried to, tell me.
I love those terms that you guys use. Life in the civilian world.
And he was like, he goes, "Mike, there's nothing out there, I would strongly,
It's just what he was telling you.
I would
There's
strongly
nothing out
recommend
there."
that you re-enlist and shit." And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm not trying to hear that, man." I'm like, no, my mindset is positive. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to, do something good. I'm going to do something better, And so I advised them that I was going to go ahead and, get out. And so I already knew it. So, I just did my time. I just let my time,
But
phase out.
did you know what you wanted to do after? You knew you wanted to get out, but did you know what you wanted to do after? Were you going to go to school?
No,
Were you going to pursue? Did you think law enforcement?
Yeah, I was going to pursue a career in law enforcement.
So that's the most common mind frame on most. Maybe not now, because I think they're realizing that it's not what you think. But for the longest time, probably up until about 5-10 years ago, most people who enlisted in the military always felt like it'd be an easy thing to come back and just become law enforcement.
Well, yeah,
and that's been the furthest thing from the truth.
Well, the way law enforcement is now, it is. Back then,
exactly,
law enforcement was different back then. But yeah, that was like a lot of people have used military as sort of a segue into law enforcement and stuff like that. And I knew when I was getting out during that whole time that I was going to pursue a career in law enforcement, because one of my friends, when I was in on this last command, his brother was actually a detective, and a narcotics detective, and I used to interact with him on occasion sometimes, and so I thought it was wow, this is pretty interesting. Maybe I could pursue that, and so so my mindset was that. But like it is, you just don't get out and okay, I'm out one day and I'm on the detective the next. It just doesn't work that way.
Right.
So I had to have a plan. First, you have to get out, because you have to be free to pursue other interests. So when I got out, I went, was back in New York, and I just started making my moves and planning my stuff out, and an opportunity came up to work in a prison, and so I went ahead and 3 months after I got out, I got a job as a correctional officer.
What was this in
New York?
New York, okay.
Yeah, so I was in New York, and then I went ahead and started working there at a prison, Bureau of Prisons, and then during that time, you're doing your thing, but I knew it was demanding. To be honest with you, it was a lot of hours. You get banged with double shifts.
Yeah.
And like here I am, how it is. But I'm over here on a unit, just me, and like on the average of like 120, 130, inmates. So ain't nothing separating me from you. Where I can touch you, you can touch me.
Right.
So you got to be on your P's and Q's. You got to
intimidating. You can easily get manhandled.
You got to know how to handle yourself. Put it that way. And trust me, I had no issue, because during the time when I was there. So during the time when I was there, there's a lot of guys from New York that were, obviously heavy hitters that were there. The boss who ran my neighborhood as a kid, in East Harlem, he was there.
While you were an officer.
Yeah. And another
Awkward.
guy. Yeah. No, but he was like, and then another guy who was one of his
goons.
Well, both of them are deceased, so I can tell you names. Okay. When I was there, Anthony Salerno, who was a boss of my neighborhood, people in New York and mob people know him as Fat Tony. Okay, nobody called him Fat Tony to his face, but they called him the old man or Tony. But he was there. And then another one of his capos, who was a very powerful capo in New York, was Matty. Everybody knew him as Matty the Horse. Matty was there also. And so I had a good relationship with Matty as well. And then So those guys were there, and I actually worked a unit at some point where they were on. And then I met some other guys. I met some guys from Newark. One of the guys there, his name is, who was there? His name is Robert Vidal. He was a drug kingpin out of Newark. And he was actually sentenced to life in prison, but he actually got out. And he's reformed himself. He actually is, I think, a pastor now, and he does outreach and stuff like that. And there was another guy, one of his, right-hand man, a guy named Torres from Jersey, who was like a straight-up killer, bro. Straight up killer.
With a name like Tarzan, I hope he fucking is.
And
that sounds horrible for me to say that.
And we used to go.
Who's this? Oh, Anthony Salerno.
That's Tony.
Tony, huh? Look at him with the FBI mugshot in 1985.
Then
damn, he was old as fuck.
Yeah.
Not to make Mikey sound old, but this dude was born in 1911.
Yeah. And then there was so I got along with these guys, and actually my cousin was there as well. My cousin at one point one day I'm looking at the you do like an inventory, so to say, of like what inmates are on the unit, and I'm looking through all the cards, and boom, I look at this name. I'm like, whoa. I look at the picture. The picture's not good, so I go up to the unit. It's a dorm. Shake his bed. Boom, my cousin. And he was in there for a long time, man. 20-something years.
I remember when I did time, I had already done 4.5 years at basically Central Florida, mainly a youthful offender camp. And I hear things when inmates come in, and you have ties. Hey man, so and so. Yeah man, he's doing this, he's doing that. So I heard about a homeboy of mine being a CO, correctional officer, down south. I made nothing of it. I heard about it a while ago, years later, 4.5 years in, and I transferred down to deep South Florida, Florida City, Dade TI, Dade Correctional Institution. And it was my first day there. First things first. I just been through 4.5 years of an absolute insane experience, because I was surrounded by an average of 15 to 17, 18-year-old gang member. And they were just loose cannons. And all they did was riots, stabbings, that's all kind of dumb shit. Anyway, I'll fast forward. When I got to this adult camp, I had already heard it was like a resort. I already heard it was great compared to where I've been. I get there, and I'm already, I'm happy. I'm like, I got 6 months of this. Fuck, and then I said I go home finally, 5 years, 1 month, 3 days off of a 6-year sentence. That's what they gave me. And as I'm walking, I got there early, dispersed my shit, met some Latinos, talked to some people. The racial tension doesn't barely even exist down there at all. And anyhow, it's lunchtime, and we start walking to lunch, and I see a fucking homeboy of mine, the one that I told you about. Totally forgot that he had become a CO. Haven't seen him in about 6-7 years, though I'm only on my 4th year. I used to see him in high school all the time. And man, long story short, we almost hugged it out in front of everybody. We literally had to stop mid hug. Officer. Yeah. Hey guys, just want to check in for a quick second, and I want to remind you that if you like what you're hearing, if you're kind of following us just a little bit, but you want to know more about us, how about make that extra effort? Look us up on Black Sheep 305 on Instagram, Gus Villamil on Instagram. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud. There's a lot of stuff out there. Look us up, guys. We really appreciate the support. We want everybody on board. Thanks again. Let's get back to the show. Mikey, we had just left off on the whole correctional officer experience, and I was telling you in regards to what happened with me and how I saw my boy, and it was just we were both stupid overjoyed with, like, holy shit, I haven't seen you in years. He had that look of, Wes, I remember when you went to prison, I was this young and I haven't seen you in years. And I'm just like, Marvin, look at you, you were young, now you're a CO, look at you. And we went for that hug and we stopped midair, dog, because we had hundreds of inmates looking at us. And immediately it's suspect as fuck. It looks like, if I have anything that looks like it's not of of code. It's gonna look like Marvin brought it into me. By the way, shout out to my boy Marvin. He never brought me shit. Fuck y'all.
Yeah, because next thing you know, people want to see your paperwork.
Yeah.
Let me see your paperwork.
Yeah. So anyhow, you were talking about that story about how you saw these people that you used to know, people that might have been affiliated. You were affiliated with them. You had ties, neighborhood ties, and it's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah, it's a fine line, man. You got to be, got to be real cool about it because in one of my situations with my cousin was in the same, facility, and he was actually at one point on my unit. So it's like, you don't want to put him in jeopardy, and you got to respect the code, that inmate code, So
You do got to respect that code, and as an ex inmate, that it does hold a lot of ground. It really does. But there's also, can you please pass me that cup because I'm not gonna let you fucking sip this shit like water now. There's also the code of I don't have to be an inmate, and I'm speaking for you, Mikey. I don't have to be an inmate. I grew up in this shit. Y'all know me. My bloodline runs deep into those fucking sewers. Respect the fact that I'm over here trying to get out the gutter. And I'm not snitching. I'm not doing anything, but I'm working. So please don't put my job at jeopardy. The same way I won't disrespect the code that I grew up with.
Oh, no, 100%, man. Listen, I have family members in the system, so it's like I know what it's about. I've been a visitor on many times, on somebody's visitors list. But the thing is, like you said, you got to go ahead and respect the code, and you got to know that. Man, people know you. Like they're not the only ones.
Salud, my brother.
Salud, Chinzan.
Chinzan.
It's not the only ones that. It's like you said, you grew up around these people, you know these people. It doesn't change how I feel about you. This is just a situation that we're in.
Right.
So I just got to go ahead and make sure you're good and I'm good. And I had to respect like that because I knew a lot of people, in that situation, people from my own neighborhood. I have a family down in the system, so, and I was good with a lot of people when I was in a CO, man. I dropped
So
names on you.
So how long did you do the CO thing until you became law enforcement?
I went ahead and I did the CO thing for just like shy on a year. Then I left to get my job in a different position in law enforcement. COs are law enforcement, so I just went ahead and took another route that would give me better career opportunities in law enforcement, and which really it worked out very well for me.
Which was he went fucking deep 6'9" on me. What the hell were you doing? Were you cop, detective, street cop?
I was
checking parking meters. What the fuck?
No, I was never checking no parking meters. Not writing accident reports. I was doing the real shit. I worked undercover for a long time, for many years. I worked narcotics. I worked organized crime. I was I've been on. I was a sergeant in charge of the gang unit.
So it's crazy how you grew up seeing this, living it, being part of it, doing it, participating. Then you slowly but surely you kind of started, withering away from it, try to, get away from it because you know that, like we spoke earlier, it's not going to lead to anywhere pretty. It all has a lifespan, and you felt like, yours was kind of coming if you stayed in the game. So you went from CO, you went from military to being the Navy to the correctional officer, and then now you became everything you just said, a detective, narcotics unit, gang unit, all that other good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, at a certain point in your life, you have to make a decision on what you want to do. Regardless of what time it is during your life, you have to make a decision on what you want to do. And you have to just go ahead and do it. You can't talk about it. You got to be about it. And for me, this is just the path that I took. I mean, actually, like I said earlier, every decision I've made in my life has led me to the point I am now. Every one. If I didn't make the decision back then, I would not be here with you right now talking today. So I'm a firm believer in that. And whether it's professionally wise, or, personal relationships, every decision you make leads you to the point you are.
So here you are. You've been doing law enforcement on all those levels for several years. At what point did it start merging into or mixing up with boxing again?
Well, what happened? I was still an active detective and stuff like that, and doing my thing, as far as my career was concerned, and but I had friends that were in the fight game, and I just linked up with them again, or linked up with some new friends, and just get it back in the gym and started training alongside my friends and fighters. And the friends I had were actually, they were either managerial level people in the game or coaches in the game, trainers in the game. So, one thing led to the other. Next thing you know, it's like, hey, I started being like sort of under the tutelage of, becoming a coach.
Okay.
And that's basically where it went. And I started working with Oscar Suarez. Oscar Suarez, rest in peace. He was a old school trainer. Oscar Suarez was a respected trainer. He passed away from pancreatic cancer a number of years ago. But I was working as part of his team, along with a couple of other individuals. And Oscar had trained.
Specific gym, maybe? Or was it?
No, I mean, Oscar trained out of Paterson, New Jersey. That's more or less where he was at. But then he had a location down in South Jersey as well, but we didn't go down there. We would come up to Paterson. And, and then I also ran a gym in New Jersey, so he would be a part of that as well. But I started working with his fighters, and I worked with guys like Amanda Nunes, Shawshank Redemption, Omar Shika, Freddie Cadena. Oscar used to train Prince Nassim Hamed.
Yeah.
He trained Popo Freitas. Yeah, that's Oscar. Yeah.
You know who Prince Nassim is, right?
Yeah, the dancer.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not clowning on him.
He was
bro.
good. He was good, though.
Yeah. His prime, the amount of slipping and
Oh yeah.
what he did was just embarrassing.
He had a big fan following too.
Yeah. But
He's in
his cockiness got the best of him, bro. I don't think he allowed himself to bloom the way he could have.
Well, he actually was, he had power in both hands. He had a very awkward style. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, but with that type of movement speed,
yeah, he was just.
if he wouldn't overly clown, I'm sorry, it's like Anderson Silva.
But that's what sold him, bro.
You're right. I get it, Mike. But you have to know that too much of anything, is gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what hurt him. But anyhow, so continue going, Mike. So here you are now. You're working with him.
So I'm working as part
with
of
Oscar.
as part of his team and stuff like that. Learning, and a group of other guys also. And like in my gym, I had.
Of course, there's always so much
yeah,
many people, more people involved.
I worked with Oscar directly, but I had Tommy Brooks. Tommy Brooks, I don't even know how many world champions that guy has trained. Lou Duva, their fighters trained out of my gym at one point. I had guys like Butch Sanchez, Angel De Jesus. I mean, these are like guys who've had world champions. So I was learning the craft of coaching
from some great dudes.
Yeah.
And then while dealing with a bunch of bad motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Especially of that time.
Yeah. And then also not only learning the coaching aspect of, of the fight game through these guys, but getting really deep in the science when as far as like, movement, technique, all those little tricks and things that you see some elite level, high level guys do, that I was learning through the fighters.
So this is where, no homo, I get a little turned on. You're starting to talk my language, see, because I think that so many, whether they're enthusiasts, practitioners, coaches, cocky motherfuckers who think they know more than what they do, I rarely hear this type of talk. I rarely hear this type of movement, body shot, concentration, head, body, head, body, whatever. You don't, the whole, I love Muay Thai. Love it. But that hang and bang shit, fuck you talking about?
That doesn't work for me.
That doesn't, it works in a hang and bang fight. Are you trying to win? Or are you trying to hang and bang? Are you trying to put on a fight? Or are you trying to win a great fight? Are you mixed martial artist? Or are you just trying to strike with a little bit of technique? So there's just so many levels to it. So again, I told you earlier off cam, Gus, that every time I get with Mikey and we start fucking talking, it's crazy, man. I feel his energy because I'm just like, damn, dude. As much as I share a lot of things in common with so many coaches, it's not about that he's a veteran or or of age or anything. That he just speaks a style and a language that I speak in regards to what I think is so important, the continuous evolution, which means movement. We're not always headhunting, going for a knockout. We're trying to set up combinations in order to put that that jawline in place for the knockout.
It's called a setup.
And that's the science. And that's the science. And that's why I love when Mikey goes into this shit and he talks about it the way he does versus beautiful knockout. Oh yeah, he set that down. Mikey breaks the shit down. And I love to hear that.
Who are some of your favorite boxing coaches now, today?
When you ask that, do you mean like people who are out there coaching people or some of his personal coaches?
No.
You're talking about
People out there right now.
Okay, so actual coach like Freddie Rose type, whatever, anybody out there.
Any coach, Rubio, Mundo.
There's a lot of guys. There's so many guys that people don't even know of because they just, haven't had the opportunity.
Yeah, to be in the camera, the limelight,
yeah, exactly. But there's a couple of.
You're
guys,
one of them, bro. You're one of them.
One of the guys
Shit.
I like what he's done with his fighters, and I respect him a lot. Is the guy named Robert Garcia. He's out of Oxnard, California.
Okay.
And he's a former fighter, world champion himself, and that's Mikey Garcia's brother. I mean,
the current boxer.
Yeah. You're saying he's not well known?
No.
Oh.
He's well known.
Yeah,
I'm saying, but there are people who are not well known because they haven't had the opportunity. But there's a lot. There's so many.
No, Robert Garcia. Is
Robert Garcia is one of my favorites, and
he's one of the best. Mikey Garcia is one of the most underrated boxers, in my opinion.
And Joelle Diaz. If you look him up here, like people in the game know him, but a lot of like your average people probably casual fan wouldn't know who I'm talking about. But he's another one, and I'm trying to think of some others. I mean, I don't want to think of say that the norm, the names that everybody knows.
Oh, his brother is Julio Diaz.
Yeah, they're boxing families. Garcia's and Diaz's are boxing families, man. Those guys got some serious game.
Let me ask you something, Mikey, as we go deeper into this. I know that in the past you've had some experiences with Arturo Gatti.
Yeah.
What was your connection to that? I mean, I see the pictures. I see you right there in the corner. But what was your connections? I know you were probably mid young into that career. But
yeah, what Arturo is that his crew back in the day and the people that he was around are people that I know. So it's like he fought for the Main Events promotion, and some of the fighters I was affiliated with also fought for Main Events.
Main Event was the promotion.
Main Events was it's still a promotion company.
Still is, okay.
Yeah. A woman by the name of Jolene. She's like runs the operations, and you have Kathy Duver and then Jolene Manzone. She's they've been with that company for ages, and they run the shit. I mean, and he was with their company with the Main Events, and like I said, some of the fighters that I was affiliated with also fought under that banner. Plus, they're Jersey based. So we all knew each other, and we all knew like the same people. Like he had a friend of his named Mikey, who I'm friends with. His trainer, his strength and conditioning coach, Teddy, a friend of mine.
Right.
Buddy McGirt, his coach, a friend of mine. I know. I've worked with Buddy before. His manager, Pat Lynch, a friend of mine.
Again, back to that conversation that we had earlier when I was saying that. It seems like those northeastern states, those New York,
Jersey,
everything,
Philly.
Like you guys are not, you're far away from each other, but you're not that far away from each other. Like you don't know each other's immediate neighborhoods, but it's like, oh yeah, Mikey from 4 hours away over there and across the street, across the track.
It's not even 4 hours.
No, it's
away.
not even. Actually, the New York, New Jersey boxing people know each other.
Yeah, it's
the Philly one that's
40,
further.
50 minutes max.
Yeah, we're talking. If you talk about travel time, that's max. Distance-wise, you're talking just under 10 miles.
Yeah.
So the travel time is only because of the traffic.
Because of traffic.
Because they're all big cities.
If you take the subway, it's even less.
Yeah, it's like if I wanted to go like from where my gym was in New Jersey, right, which was in Northeast Jersey, which was in Hackensack, right? If I wanted to go to like Gleason's gym, we're talking about that's less than 10 miles away. However, drive there, it'll take me like a couple of hours to get there because of New York City traffic.
So when was it that you really noticed, hey man, I'm not just a green thumb anymore. I'm pretty good at this shit. I'm pretty connected. I think I'm helping people make moves in their careers. I'm kind of finding a niche over here as I balance out this law enforcement thing that I'm about to walk away from. When did it all start hitting you?
Well, I've actually been working with professional fighters for like 20 years. So, and I started from the very beginning. You know, my introduction into working with fighters is what it, in my opinion, should be. I'm what they call, I held that bucket, you know, and I'm a big believer in paying your dues.
Dues, right.
You have to pay your dues in this game.
Right.
I can't, there's not something I can't stand. I really don't like it when somebody comes into this game that hasn't paid their dues and thinks they could just walk in and call themselves this and that. You know, with that old KRS one, they say I'm so-and-so, I'm this, I'm that, but to me they're just all whack. That's how I look at it. You know, these guys want fame overnight. You know, they want to go ahead and it seems like they want to be more famous than the fighters that they're working with. It's like, what's your motivation, your incentive for doing this? Mine is because the passion of the sport. This is what I love to do, and to contribute to the success of the particular fighter I'm working with. It's not about me.
Right.
Yeah, do I achieve personal, happiness, and I feel good that I've actually contributed in some way?
So what?
Of
But
course.
what was it that made you different from those average? I don't want to say average, but from those coaches who were egotistical, who were hiding an underlining, selfish goal, and they're pretty much living. And I don't know that there's anything wrong with this, if I generalize it as such, but they're living vicariously, through their fighters. I guess there's levels to it. I don't see nothing wrong with that. I think we all do that. I think you do as well in some shape or form. But when you look at the monetary figure, when you look at the, hey, don't fuck this up for us, and you forget about this is one of my closest people in my life, and that's more important. Let me make sure that I don't burn them out. Let me make sure that I'm more concerned with life after this.
Listen, I understand it, and I get it. People want to market themselves. This is what they do, and this is how their opportunity to make a living or maybe achieve the success that they want to achieve for themselves. I understand it. My issue is when that's your primary focus. Because when your primary focus is all about you, then I have an issue about it. Because honestly, when you're doing the right thing, and you're making things happen, you're gonna get that. It may not be as soon as you want it,
right? But you'll manifest.
But you'll get it exactly. Right. And not only that, the people you work with, the fighters, when you're good, I don't have to tell you how good I am. I don't have to put up videos on Instagram of me doing all this, 60 punch combination pad work. I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to blow myself up. Fighters will speak for me.
Right.
And this industry, as big as it is, it's a small world, and people get to know who you are and what you are about, through word of mouth.
So somehow word of mouth or a little bit of everything kind of got you to want to mosey on down into South Florida. How did that transition? How did that occur? Was ATT part of the reason, or did you come to South Florida for other reasons, and then ATT became some that was at the end of the tunnel?
Well, actually, what happened was this. So, at some point, I was working with the fighters, and I started developing my little niche and started doing my thing and, learning things and trying different things, experimenting, having an open mind. And then as like anything, you apply yourself, you develop, you progress, you get to a level that, sometimes you don't recognize it yourself, but other people recognize it.
Right.
So what happened was as I retired from my from law enforcement as a detective sergeant, it's like, okay, I had been doing the training before I retired. So now I'm retiring. I'm like, okay, what do I want to do now? And having been up in, the New York, New Jersey area and stuff like that, it's fast paced, and sometimes maybe you just want to kick back and relax a little bit, simplify life a little bit.
Of course.
So I decided Florida.
until there's a hurricane coming.
Until there's a hurricane. So South Florida. So I said, you know what? I had my I have family down here, so I'm like, I'm going to come down to South Florida, switch it up. I'm going to change up my life a little bit. So I went ahead and decided to come down here and live somewhat of a different lifestyle.
And what year was this? Roughly
2009. 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got down here
10 years ago.
Yeah. It'll be 10 years in December.
Okay.
And then I got down here, and then obviously because I like to stay, keep sharp, hit a couple of gyms up. Used to go to a couple of gyms.
So when you first came down here, where exactly did you go? Where'd you touch down?
When I first Broward County, I was up in the Margate, Coral Springs area.
So for people to listening who might not be too affiliated with how South Florida is or the whole, a lot of people say Miami when they're just South Floridians, and they say that not only they're trying to falsely claim, but it's just more like a lot of people don't know the outer cities, so they just connected to Miami. But Broward County, that's the area, the judicial area, the different area, the county area above Dade County. Dade County is what Miami consists of, a bunch of inner cities. Broward County is just above Dade County, and they have Broward. They have Fort Lauderdale, they have Pembroke Pines, they have Miramar. They have a bunch of awesome fucking places. Beautiful place, maybe about 10 miles slower than Miami.
Right. Which I don't mind.
About 30% better quality people in regards to the respect and the
100%.
the lack of wanting to fight so quick and snap so quick, and they're definitely a notch. I admit it. I'm Miami.
Miami has the worst people.
It's a lot of sketch.
you always go so extreme,
Listen,
bro.
It's facts, man.
Hey,
You
guys,
have the
guys.
rudest people.
There's a lot of sketchiness down here, man. You just got to try to avoid it. You just got to try to navigate your way through it. As far as like the men, the women, there's a lot of sketch behavior going on. But you can gravitate and you'll find some good people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not easy.
It's a better pool to pick from up there, is what I'm saying.
No,
there's no probably, Mike. There's no, Mikey. You never come down here. You never come down here, and it's for a reason. I
love the
Gus,
305, but the 954 definitely has better people.
For sure, Gus. I invite him all the time to different events. Yo, let's link this, that. I don't know. I know what it is, because at the time, and we'll get into this in a little bit. He's very single. And he's like, nah, bro, those bitches down there are this and they're that and they're this and that. Mikey, but we're all gonna hang out. Yeah, man, but dudes over there always want to, they want to fight. They want to this one. Yeah, but we're gonna go to a bar. Yeah, but the bar's over there. And it's like, fuck, you're right, you motherfucker. Okay, it's better up there, but at least come visit us down here in the South, dude.
Yeah, I'm just trying to live in harmony, bro.
Yeah,
it's all
man.
love.
You hit a certain age, dude, and you're like, man, these people got it wrong, dude. The goal is to avoid that bullshit.
So
it's
many
to not to embrace it.
So many people get it wrong.
Not to be like, yo, I need to be a lion. I need to be a tiger. I need to prove something, man. If somebody's asking you to prove something, that's the wrong person you're surrounded by,
For sure.
Unfortunately, it takes us a little bit of time to figure that shit out, man.
That's what happens. That's for you and I. We're old school, so we've already been there, done that, seen it. Participated in it, and we're trying to go ahead and educate you into what's really going on.
Yeah, man.
But some people need to do that and see it on their own. They need that journey experience on their own. But it's like, listen, this is going to happen this way, and it's like anything. Even it's like people that guys, girls in relationships. It's like. It's.
Let me ask you something, Mikey, real quick before we move on into the next phase of the whole ATT transition. Mm-hmm. I forgot who I was just telling this to, and Gus hears me say it sometimes to him. I try not to fucking come at him like I'm big bro all the time, and I want to bitch at him because I don't want him to think that, because he's a great dude, and as much as I do, kind of feel that big bro role with him. I'm not trying to slam it on him neither,
Yeah.
But certain people during certain times, I speak a certain way, and I don't bite my tongue too often. I was telling my ex. How do you say that?
X twice removed.
2 exes ago?
X twice removed.
Why you gotta be so fucking? Why's it gotta be so nasty removed? Fuck! Ever since that story
You could say your coworker.
ever since that story of Tommy, who he had to deal with.
You could say coworker.
Why do you gotta go there, dog? Yeah, that is true though. She's a coworker. Whatever. Shout out to my homie Lo. I'm not gonna badmouth her, but my ex is young, and I would always spit some game to her in regards to like, listen, man, this how it is, this how that.
I can relate.
And
I know, bro. I know what you're talking about.
But the main thing is what I find myself saying nowadays, and this is what I wanted to ask you was, nowadays, dude, I say this like opening. Listen, this is the waiver that you got to sign without signing it, and I'm gonna say this, and then you sign the waiver without ever signing it. And what it is like, look, I'm about to waste my time because I honestly feel like no matter what I tell you, and as much as you respect me, and as much as I think I fucking have the best advice ever, I'm keep realizing that 95, if not more, percent of the human race just has to figure it out on their own. And when I say that, and I always use this example, as vulgar as it is, I say, for example, right on cue. For example, I could tell you, Mikey, I saw your girlfriend at the club tonguing another guy down. He had his hand under her fucking dress. I saw it with my own eyes. Wes, you were probably drunk. No, I didn't drink that night. You were high. Whatever. I was still fucking focused. Nah, man, probably. Mikey, I got video footage. I show you video footage. Nah, that's just not clear. It's like a UFO sighting. It's just not detailed enough.
It's not conclusive.
It's not conclusive. What I'm saying is the majority of the world always has to fucking bump their head on the wall. You have to walk in and catch your girl being fucked by the other guy to be like, okay, Wes was right. And that sucks.
Yeah.
But that's what I accept now. So when I spit advice to certain people, let's just say the majority of people, if I give a fuck, I give them the opening speech of, I'm about to waste my time, but I'm gonna do it because I think that you're one of those people who might be a black sheep. You might be one of the very, very few. Therefore, I'm just gonna tell you this: no matter what I tell you, and you're probably gonna, but if you don't, and then that's it. Do you feel that? Because you're older than me, you're wiser, you're way more seasoned veteran, but in the best way possible. I'm not frustrated, but I'm like, and you talk like you don't care to waste your time with anything, but to me that's a waste of time. So I always say that to get it over with quick, so that I don't entertain a big conversation.
Yeah, I'll keep it real with you, Wes. It's like I try not to like judge people because every situation is different, and every people have to figure out things on their own. I can only speak from my experiences and stuff like that, and obviously I see other things happen. But for me, it's like, you try to tell something to somebody, give them some words of advice. Sometimes, it's going to fall on deaf ears, because they just have to experience it themselves. It's for me, and sometimes the heart blinds the brain. I'm going to speak from my personal experience, okay? Like,
emotions cloud judgment.
Yeah, exactly. Most clouds judgment. And then, I have somebody, who I care about, deeply and stuff like that. And, and it's like I can go ahead and tell her and offer advice and say, hey, this is what you should do. This is going to happen this way. It's going to, it's going to unfold this way. But I honestly feel that all I can do is just continue that love, support, and encouragement. And she probably has to figure some things out on her own.
You definitely have an influence.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's not as strong as most people think because they still have to figure it out on their own.
Yeah, and it's like anybody. Not like in my particular situation, it could apply to anybody. It can apply to someone I'm talking to, but it's apply to someone whom I care about. That it's like, yes, I just have to go ahead and let them figure it out on their own. And all I can do is just be there for them if they need me, or continue my love, support, and encouragement for that particular person. And just hope that they'll figure it out in a timely fashion, because I've been in this situation before. I've been in a situation where it's been like that, and they haven't figured it out, and then you go ahead and you do your own thing. You go your own separate way.
So let me ask.
And then later on, they come back, knocking on that door. You know what? You were right, and this and that, and I fucked up, and what do I say?
I'm over here biting my tongue so bad right
now. And I'm like this. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, sweetheart, like you had me.
You had the chance.
You had me. You had the chance.
What's up, crazy world? You got to be a little loose upstairs if you're following us. But if you're not following us, what the hell are you waiting for? Listen, go ahead. Stop what you're doing. Pause. You can come right back to this. I want you to subscribe. Go to YouTube. I want you to go to iTunes. I want you to go to SoundCloud. I want you to just find any platform that we're on. Follow, listen, show your love and support. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Let's get back to the podcast. So, Mike, when I hear you talk, it's, again, I hope, I'm biased, obviously, but I hope people out there can be a little bit influenced by not just what you're saying, but if they're like, hey, man, well, I'm not from the fucking New York. I'm not from the Bronx. I'm not from Harlem. I'm not 55 years old. I haven't been to the Navy. Okay, well, then maybe you can relate to me. Maybe I can give you some credibility if I say it. And if I don't say it, whoever next, it's just that trickle effect, that pyramid effect. But, dude, the shit you're talking is what I always preach, and I preach it in one saying. This isn't something that I invented. This is a saying that I read from, holy fuck, I don't know if it was 40, no, it wasn't 40 Laws of Power, but it was a good book. It might have been Robert Emerson. Anyhow, knowledge speaks, wisdom listens. That's a two-part thing right there. That's not either one is right or wrong. If you're going to talk, if you're going to speak, make sure you're spitting out some shit, bro. Spit some fire. Spit some knowledge. Teach me something. Don't fucking talk if it's just nonsense, if it's stupidity, if it's a waste of both of our lives, of our energy, of our time. Wisdom listens. Is so much more valuable to just shut the fuck up and listen to whoever's talking. That doesn't mean they're going to teach you anything informative in a knowledge form, in an educated form. But even when it's negative, they're still educating you because they're educating on you to not put up with this shit, not listen to this shit, avoid this dumbass. Next time, walk away from this conversation. Hey, when somebody, however you want to look at it.
Avoiding the unnecessary.
Exactly. So if I heard this dumbass entry one time before because I was wise enough to shut up and let this idiot talk, fast forward, here I am talking, it's me and Mikey, and here comes another idiot, and they start talking. The minute I hear that entry of what said idiot did a while ago, now I'm more informative. Now I know this entry because I entertained it one time because I was wise enough. So now I'm wise enough to walk away and be like, nah, I don't need to hear this. So there's levels to it. If you're going to talk, make sure you're saying some shit, some information, something educative, something that's going to, make everybody prosper from hearing you talk. Make sure that if you got people's attention, if you got an audience, say something that makes fucking sense. Otherwise, be wise enough to shut the fuck up, pour out your cup, and let someone else fill it up with some knowledge.
No doubt, man. It's like, for me, it's like, I go ahead and I see people sometimes struggling, going through stuff like,
In life.
And stuff. And sometimes it's not even necessary to struggle. Sometimes that struggle is not necessary. It's like you're imposing that struggle on yourself.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be.
You're your own worst enemy.
Right. Life can be a little bit easy. You make these moves, perhaps it'll be a little bit easier. But sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I think they like the struggle. I think that's the norm for them, to be struggling and going through shit. And that makes them feel alive or whatever, for whatever reason. It's weird, but I can't relate with it because I don't want to struggle with nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah, we all have our struggles, but if I can avoid something that's going to cause struggle, or avoid something that's going to, cause you, grief or heartache or whatever it is, I try to avoid it. Listen, sometimes you can't avoid it. Sometimes, even for me, it's like the easy thing is to go ahead and avoid it totally. Isolate yourself and not deal with stuff. But you're not living life.
But I want to ask you something because I want to give this guy a shout out. I don't got to give him a shout out. Everybody knows who he is. Gary V.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of Gary V's biggest, probably most valuable points are, forget about the financial this and how he knows the game from the social media and how he always uplifts millennials for the right reasons instead of down talking them for all the wrong reasons. And I get it, man, and he's awesome. But I think one of the best things that he does is he reminds people to, hey Gus, can you do me a favor? Can you flip that around? So he reminds people, where was that? Gary V. You need to find your own niche, stick to it, and make sure you love it, because that has the most value out of everything. He's rich. He's filthy rich.
Mm-hmm.
And he can fucking stay filthy rich. And he might lose money or gain more money. And he is always trying to make some money. Let's not act like he's a fucking what's it called? The non-profit organization, because it's not that. But that's not his primary concern. Mm-hmm. And when he teaches people, the two main things he teaches people is, one, love what you do. Because if you don't, it doesn't matter if you make 50 or you make $1 million, as in $50,000, or you make $1 million, you're gonna be miserable. If you don't love what you do, you can make $1 million and you're still gonna be miserable. So that's one of the main things that he says. He says, don't think about being rich, being successful as making 300 grand a year. You can make 100 grand a year and fucking love life, and life is amazing because you love what you do and your formula involves X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C. Now, on the flip side, he also points out as to why he thinks, and this is what I agree with, and this is why I'm talking to you about it right now, is I think the majority of people, like he says, struggle. That was the quote of the moment right now. Struggle with life because they're trying to live outside their means. They're trying to live for some facade. They're trying to live or project something that they're not, based upon some type of social pressure, some type of my friends do this,
Instagram.
For Instagram.
Everything nails down to Instagram. People believe what they see when nothing is real.
And even if it was, though, but I agree with you, Gus.
Nobody's life is perfect.
Gus, I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, even if it was me and Mikey grew up, we were this, we were that, here we are in life, we're 40 years old, and I got, a Ferrari, an Audi, and I own my own business and whatever the fuck. And Mikey's just chilling, selling insurance, doing all right with 2 kids. But we cross paths and we start hanging out. And now Mikey feels like, something egotistical kicks out of him. And he's like, I'm going to go buy this. I'm going to go buy that. I'm tired of having this fucking van with the kids, this and that. And it's that unforeseen peer pressure that people put on themselves to try to live and act like something that they're not, that they can't afford.
It's a whole lot of phoniness going on out there.
It's called, so I took psych in school. It's called EI. When you stand around somebody or with somebody that has stuff, it's called envious influence. Yeah.
That didn't exist when we were studying.
No, it's just called stay in your lane.
Yes.
Right, listen, the whole thing is this. Like,
it's epic.
It's just weird because listen. I get it. Social media. I actually enjoy social media. I have fun on social media.
Your fighters like to call you out on that, by the way. I think that's hilarious.
But nothing on my social media is fake. I could tell you that right now. And you know, Wes.
Of course.
My shit is real.
Our whole hashtag about today was, we ain't faking shit.
We don't fake it. I should throw smoke on people. I throw shade on people. I'm like, hey, man, stop faking the funk. I keep my shit real. I can appreciate it. People want to develop, build their brand. They want to do this. They want to do that. They want to develop some type of identity, that they not necessarily are. But I'm like, I understand it, but I don't agree with it a lot of times. I mean, my social media, I enjoy it. I promote most of the stuff for the fighters and stuff like that, where we're at, where we're traveling to.
And whenever you post about you, and I want anybody out there to please follow Mikey Sweet Science. No.
Yeah, Mikey Rod. Let me check. That's how up I am on my social media.
While Mikey verifies that when Mikey posts videos of himself chilling when it's not work related, it's almost always the same shit. This man never posted anything about popping bottles. He never posted anything on a red carpet.
No.
He doesn't post about the lavish treatment that they get when they go to different cities, different countries in Russia and this and that. That man's posting pictures, chilling with the fucking homies, and they're at the beach relaxing in the sun. He posts the grind. He posts one of my favorite, the hurt business, hashtag the hurt business. That was one of the best fucking things that come out of Mikey, man. You've never been that guy, dude.
No, man. I keep
You're
it
humble
real.
as fuck.
I keep it real, and I always say I keep it real. And and that's who I am, and that's how I've always been. I'm not gonna change who I am for anybody. People who know me, people who are close to me. I mean, there's not a lot of people down here that really know me or that close to me. I have a couple of people, they know who they are.
Good for them.
My little elephant.
Shout out to the elephant.
Yeah.
Hey, do we have an elephant soundbite?
But
next time Mikey comes on, we're gonna have an elephant soundbite ready for his shout out.
I mean, I just keep it real. I just feel a lot of people get caught up in the whole social media thing, and for myself, I mean, I enjoy it. But I actually had a period when I got to get off it because I saw so much crap on it, and I was like, why am I doing this shit? But then it's entertaining, and actually I've had people tell me, Mikey, man, why'd you shut down your Instagram? Put it back on. We enjoy looking at it and stuff like that. And so I reactivated it. I enjoy it, but I mean, people just need a reality check, and sometimes, and I live in the real world. I'm not trying to reinvent myself, create myself. I do what I do, coaching fighters, because it's my passion. It's because I love what I do. I have no other motivation other than that. I'm not trying to create an identity. I'm not trying to capitalize financially off it or anything like that. And I'm not knocking anybody else who is trying to capitalize it off it financially. I'm just be real about it. Don't be fake. I have a problem with the fake.
So let's bring everybody up to date, and let's talk about reality, like you were just talking about reality check. So reality check, fast forward, here we are. You're ATT. You're one of the best fucking gyms in the world. You came 7 years ago. Fuck, man. I know my math. We're in 2019. That'll be 2012. I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck was going on in 2012, but it really doesn't matter because ATT from Coconut Creek, Florida, has been one of the top, if not the top. It all depends on what you want to compare it to, AKA or John Winkle.
Winkle John.
Winkle John. Phuket, Thailand, ATT, whatever. There's only very few. But Coconut Creek, ATT has been top dog, up there in the top 3 forever and a day. And you've been part of that wave. You've been in there. You've been in the filming of the show when you guys went against Black Zillions.
Yeah.
You've been part of so many fighters that have come across. You're still part of so many fighters that are there. You've grown relationships with so many fighters, from Amanda Nunes to Will Brooks to you're Russian people, which I know I'm killing. From Joanna to Tisha. Tisha's been one of your main homegirls.
Yeah, Tisha. Me and Tisha have just a special relationship. That it's been like that, since the beginning almost. I mean,
awesome.
we just spoke. We just texted each other earlier today.
That's awesome. Tisha has an amazing following. She's got an amazing story. She's been a little in the less of a limelight. I can understand why. One, her relationship. Two, I know that she wanted to bounce back from a loss. 2 losses ago, maybe.
Yeah, she's had back-to-back losses, but it's like it's been decision losses.
Yeah, I was about to say she never got her ass whooped. None of that. Nor does she ever get that.
No, she doesn't get ass whooped. It's like she just gets decision losses against the top in the game. Yeah. It's not like she's fighting some bullshit chick. Right. No, she's fighting the top of the game.
I remember when she fought. Oh my God, Gus. When she fought,
she just lost a decision. Well, decision 2 fights ago from the. She lost a decision in Uruguay. The girl was really tough, tall. Marina Rodriguez, and it was tough because there's obstacles. The girl's tall, lengthy,
and she's a wrestler.
She's a Muay Thai girl, actually. To be honest,
she's Brazilian. There ain't no such thing as a Brazilian.
Oh, wrestler. I'm thinking about the chick from. Oh, no, you know what? I got confused.
Then she lost to the new champion, the 115-pound champion, Whaley. I mean, that was a decision loss, and she just steamrolled Andrade. So it's like Tisha has had those losses, but it's been decision losses because, that's just the way it worked out. But it's like she's never been beat up. Actually, to be honest with you, people I work with exclusively and stuff, and we don't get pieced up. It just doesn't happen because
But when there's other coaches involved,
it's because it's like
that's what you're saying, right?
No, because because
come on now, hey, can you fucking can you look for a button over there, please? Can you look for a button over there? Because I feel like it's happening right now, very silently.
Let's see if I get the right one.
Oh my God, I hope so. Quick. No, this is horrible. Uh-oh, Mikey's about to drop some shit right now. Hold up, Mikey. Go ahead. Let's go, Mikey. Let's go.
No, it's because, Wes, it's like, you know it because, you've known me. And I'm all about, in preparation for fights and training, a huge portion of it is focused on movement, angles, footwork, positioning, defense. And because I have the philosophy, it's like, no, I want to hit you and I want to minimize you hitting me. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't need to stand there and bang with you unnecessarily. There may come a time where it may be necessary.
Right.
But why give you the opportunity to do that when I can just go ahead? If I focus on my movement, my angles, my positioning, my feints, all my little tricks that, you know, we work on, where I can capitalize and I can hit you, but you can't hit me, or I minimize that impact, that contact. That's, for me, it's a major part of my game. And so
That's
it's
the
very
sweet
important.
science that
Yeah.
you try to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
So here you are at ATT. You start working with, I mean, I don't know who the first high caliber clients that you started working with, you know, fighters that you started working with once you came down here.
Well,
What was it that made it official? Was it
I
Dan Lambert on his own? Was it somebody who connected you to Dan?
No, I mean, I actually started working with Marcelo Alfaya. That's the one that brought me into ATT. And from there, from Marcelo, then I started working with, I worked with India Gomez. I worked with Ticia Torres. I worked with
India Gomez is still in Invicta? She was in Invicta.
She was. I don't know what she's doing now. I think she's out in Vegas. I'm not Vegas, or Nevada right now.
She's a Mexican, right?
No, she's Brazilian. She's Brazilian. And then I started working with Kelly Knutson. He's out there in Nevada also. He's coaching now, has his own gym. Then, you know, it was Ticia Torres. And then it just started just building from that, right? And then I just, oh my God, it's easier probably to name who I haven't worked with
Right.
at ATT.
Right.
Because I worked with so many.
You work with more of the lightweight guys like Kyoji.
I work with Kyoji. I've helped out Shorty at
Is that
times.
is that purposely or is that just
No.
coincidental?
Kyoji, I've been working with Kyoji since his first day at American Top Team. His very first day, I've been his one of his coaches, and that hasn't changed throughout his whole time there. You know, he's worked with other people before, but I've been consistent. Same thing with, you know, Ticia and other fighters like, you know, that I work with. So
John Lineker and
I work with Lineker as well. I
wish you guys can get that motherfucker to move his head.
I try.
Holy shit, man!
I try to say, man.
I like watching them, bro, because when you got a chin and a head that's just that fucking resilient to punches, that doesn't mean sit there and take it. That means do the opposite. Get to moving, because if you get caught, who cares? You're fucking indestructible, but don't sit there and just take it. Man, but he's fun to watch, man.
We're working. I mean, I work with a whole bunch of.
Plus, he's a heavy one.
Oh my God,
125.
I work
135.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be a flyweight. He does 135 because he doesn't cut to 125.
He can't cut to 125.
Yeah, but he should have been 125.
He's thick.
Nah,
He's a little thick.
He won't make that. It's like Chad Mendes.
He's a little thick.
He'll never make that.
But I mean, listen, the fighters I work with, there's so many. I mean, some of my ones I work with, I like Philippe Lins from the PFL. He was the heavyweight champion last year.
Yeah.
Magomed Karamov, he was the welterweight champion. We still work together. I mean, essentially,
he's undefeated still, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
11-0.
Yeah, he's well. Magomed has a couple of defeats, but he's undefeated in PFL.
Okay, but don't just run through those fucking names like you ain't trying to have people hear your resume. So hold up, listen. You're very established. You've done some great things. You've worked with so many people. Amanda, Brooks. I remember you worked with Will Brooks when he was
Bellator
champion, about to be defended. I think he lost it.
He won the championship.
He won it when you were with him.
Yeah.
Then he took time off. Then he lost it, but it was still a great fight. Whatever. Anyhow, Will, there's so many people that you've been working with for such a long time. So let's not downplay it. But as of currently, right now, very notable who you're currently working with hands-on. Like, I'm not saying they're head coach, but one of their main coaches. Say it again. The PFL champ for the light heavyweight division? Heavyweight division, which is?
Philippe Lins.
Now he's still currently the champion?
Well, they have a new tournament this year, which he's out because
because they do tournaments every time.
PFL.
Yeah,
$1 million tournament.
Yeah, he hurt his hand, so he's out of this tournament. But he was the 2018.
And then one of you dudes just won the welterweight?
That was Magomed.
FNG, right?
Yeah, no, the Magomed Karamov is the welterweight champ for 2018, but he's still in this tournament here, and we're advancing October 11th to Vegas. He fights in Vegas. I also work, and he's the former champ. He's the 2018 champ, PFL welterweight champ. I also train Kyoji Horiguchi, who's the Bellator and Risen bantamweight champion.
Who's also a UFC veteran because he fought in the UFC.
Yeah, he fought in the UFC. He left the UFC because it wasn't working for him.
Right, in regards to fighting enough, getting paid enough.
Yeah. So he said peace. I mean, I work with Lineker. I work with essentially all the fighters that come from Dagestan that come to American Top Team. I work with all those guys as well.
Why, you speak fucking doggy or what?
Ali, the guy from the one who's a welterweight champ from FNG, he's over there.
I mean, it's just, you know what it is that I just have a good relationship, a good rapport with them, you know. And once you have their trust and respect,
They pass it on. It's
those guys are, you know, they're solid, bro. They're solid.
I saw that I can't say his fucking name, bro. Damn it, man. That Russian, he's with First Round Management. He just posted some pictures with George Masvidal and Abraham.
Alexei?
Yeah, there you go.
Oleanic.
Is he training at ATT?
Yeah, he's at ATT.
He's the real deal, bro.
I worked with him before,
Who, Mr.
too.
Ezekiel?
Yeah.
Yes, that's him. Yeah, Ezekiel.
Bro.
Yeah. Ezekiel with a good chin. I mean, he can be a little bit
He
more
has
fluid
does he have
outside.
a broken ankle or
Yeah, I think he broke his ankle in his last fight.
Yeah.
But he's just a tough man. And
So
he's
tell me,
deceivingly strong. You see his punch?
yeah.
That punch has power in it.
I know. It looks a little awkward. It looks like he's throwing a brick at you.
I know
But
because
he's throwing a fucking brick at you. So if it hits you,
I've worked with him before also, and he's deceivingly strong. You'll be, you know, you think, oh, look at that slow ass punch.
yeah,
Whatever.
until they fucking.
Next thing you know, you get hit with it, or that knee he throws. You're like, damn, don't hit me with that one again, please. You know?
Mikey, let me ask you something. You've been there for a good enough amount of time. Give us a couple of experiences of like, man, when this happened, it really shook the gym. When so and so got there, man, everything changed. It was a great vibe. It was this. When so and so lost, oof, kind of got ugly in there. Things were this and that. And I asked you to say this, not to try and expose anything. And I don't, because I know there's always gym code. There's guy code, there's street code, there's all that shit. So I'm not trying to be a fucking investigator, interrogator, or some goddamn, reporter. But within your limits, what were some of those experiences that you can remember, 2 or 3 of them that, man, throughout my 7-year span at ATT, I'll never forget when so-and-so this and that, and when this and that happened, man, this, that.
Well, the one that sticks out the most is when Robbie was fighting Tyron. That's the one that really sort of shook up the gym a little.
The whole gym was super ready. Like, he's got this. This is gonna happen for sure.
No, it shook up the gym because it was 2 people from American Top.
But wasn't Tyron only there for about 3 or 4 months, or was it a lot more?
No, Tyron's been there before. Tyron was there before Robbie.
Before Robbie came back, or came?
No, before he came.
Really?
Yeah, but Tyron has his own American Top Team out where he's at, and the whole thing is that he spends a lot of time out there, and he splits time also
in Milwaukee.
In Milwaukee with Duke Rufus and stuff like that. So what happened was when that went down, people would think, but Robbie moved from where he was to American Top Team, relocated his whole family. So when
Robbie did that after what fight? Wasn't that he wasn't with the UFC?
Yeah,
he was with the UFC.
Yeah.
When he made that move, that wasn't still that strike.
Because on the UFC Embedded, he was already in Coconut Creek. He was living in Coconut Creek.
Yeah, I worked with him for the first Johnny Hendricks fight.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing was, when that happened between those 2 guys, it shook up the gym a little bit because there was a little bit of
sides
division. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate, but just, it happened. What are you going to do,
What are you going to do? All right. Put you on the fucking spot. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do when Masvidal spanks up Nate Diaz? We hope.
Listen.
We hope. I'm saying this it's hurting me to say this. We hope Covington wins. And then and then they gotta fight each other. What is that? What do we do to that reaction? How
is the gym?
How do we handle that?
How is that whole vibe with Covington talking the way he does and then,
awkward?
Listen,
because I know him and Jorge don't train together. They don't spar together. They don't drill together.
I look like this. I mean,
they were super tight though in the past. That wasn't fake.
I do what I do, and I conduct myself the way I conduct myself. And
He's about to get politically correct on this, Gus.
Yeah, I am.
Fuck.
I am. And how people choose to conduct themselves, that's on them. However, let's go to Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal. I like Nate Diaz, man. I like him as a fighter, dude. That is awesome. But Jorge, listen, for me, I'll give it like this. Jorge's a real dude, bro.
We've been talking about Jorge all the time, man.
Jorge's a real dude.
He's
a real fighter.
Yeah, man.
You know, he conducts himself as such, and I got large, and I have nothing but respect for him. I can appreciate how he conducts himself. I actually like it, you know, because he talks it, but he walks it also.
Right.
He doesn't do it in a way that's, you know,
right,
vulgar or crass or anything. I mean, he's a real fighter, real dude, and I respect his game. I respect him as a fighter and stuff like that.
So, I remember when the last interview that I saw with George, I think it was a couple of outlets. I think it was MMA World and somebody else, but they were at you guys' gym, and I saw the George interview, and then sure enough, you know, going through my YouTube things, I saw Kobe's interview. I'm like, God damn. You can tell they're just at the gym and they're lining them up. They're lining up, you know, who they want to interview. All right, George, we're going to do you first. And once you're done, all right, cool. Kobe, go ahead and step in. We're going to do you. And I think it was called MMA Scrum or some shit like that. Anyhow, so George did his thing. It was an awesome interview. I fucking love how much better George gets at his interviews. I've known George forever, when he was fucking street dumb, dumb. And to see how much he's advanced, man, it's just awesome. It's just really awesome. It really makes me happy. But anyhow, so George was done, and then it comes up with fucking this cocksucker. He starts talking. I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same spot, same position. Fuck, he's really at ATT. I thought Kobe was like all over the place except at ATT, especially because of the controversy as to what might happen. And sure enough, they're interviewing Kobe right there, right after George, and it's the same exact spot as the camera. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's it right there with that hired fucking model, which he could have paid for better money.
That's actually the ring girl from my fights. She.
Oh, is that the booty bitch? What's her name?
Yep.
That's her.
He definitely.
Yeah, well, whatever he paid, he didn't get enough from her because he needed to show her ass.
How'd it feel to be in an arena and get booed by 17,000 people? Because it kind of seemed like you were enjoying it, man.
It was amazing. I loved it, man. All these fighters, they can't even get a pop. They can't even get people to cheer for them. They can't even get 500 people to cheer. I had every single person direct their focus from the pay-per-view of the UFC on me walking out and sitting in front row. They didn't care about the fights. They cared that the greatest fighter in the
This shit is nauseating. Yeah, I'm glad that shit stopped right there. The greatest fighter, that's where it stopped. The greatest fighter. What do you think, Mikey? Did that stop on you? Yeah. Good, right?
No, it didn't stop.
No, but that I think that one did.
Listen, I'm responsible for my own behavior.
Is that you biting your tongue?
And how I conduct myself.
So you're saying he needs to deal with whatever repercussions come, or you're saying that you're trying to maintain saying too much? Because
I got a question. Yeah. Who do you think the gym
about
is
fucking
going
time,
for?
by the way?
Who do you think the gym is going for more, Jorge or Kobe?
I think they're not thinking about it right now.
I don't think.
Who do you think they want to have that
I don't.
belt?
Jorge's got deep roots at American Top Team.
Yeah, man,
You know
of
what
course.
I mean, and you know, I'm not speaking ill of anybody, you know, but you know, you get a lot of people that have a lot of love for George.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's not. I mean, I guess it might be biased, but to be honest with you,
Yeah.
George is Miami.
Mm-hmm.
George is born and raised in Miami. He's Miami. He's everything Miami. Kobe's not. Kobe's not born and raised in Miami. You don't hear George talking about fucking Trump and this and that. Like, no, that's not what George is doing. So, yeah, you can see why that should sway his way. Hey. Stop what you're doing for a second and pay attention. First of all, We really, really, really appreciate the love and support you guys are giving us out there. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for doing everything that you do to make us successful. But for those of you who are just now finding out about the Black Sheep Perspective, hey, pause what you're doing. Go click that subscribe button. Go hit that like button. Go download that app. Do whatever it is you got to do to follow our journey, because we got a whole lot of shit coming and we want to get everybody involved. So again, thank you everybody out there for showing your love and support. We appreciate every bit of it. Back to the podcast. I'm not gonna. It's not like I'm trying to put you on the spot, because it's not being put on the spot. But at the same time, I'll never forget the time that George walked in. He was with Kobe, and I was at a CFA fight. That's a local, for anybody listening. That was at the time, that was a really hype, local event.
They put good shows on.
They did. They overpaid the fighters, and that's why they went down. But they put on good shows. Anyhow, so it was a CFA fight. And me, bro, believe it or not, I was so involved in the fight game that I never wanted to sit down. I always wanted to walk around. I used to stand right at the, like that weird angled tunnel angle. I don't know. I never sat down. I was right there in the middle of traffic. And here comes George and Kobe. And I think George came with Paulino, which, by the way, I love Paulino. He's one of my original coaches. Love him to death. And said what's up to Paulino. Saw George. Said what's up to George. George introduced me to Kobe. Kobe said what's up. And they like parked right in front of me, kind of like where you're at, 3-4 feet in front of me. And then who's about to fight? Jose Caceres. And Jose was fighting. I think Jose was fighting the dude from the Tough finale who broke his who shattered his leg, Corey Hill. Mm-hmm. Corey Hill on the Tough show, the Ultimate Fighter show, had shattered his leg like Anderson Silva did. And then he's trying to make his comeback, and he fights Jose Caceres in our neck of the woods. And then here's Kobe. And I hear Kobe talking to George. Bro, I had to hear Kobe for like 2.5 rounds before Jose beat Corey. I had to hear Kobe talk. It was the most painful shit ever. And from that point on, I had the sour taste in my mouth for him. I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm street. Mm-hmm. I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever. That doesn't mean you got to be hood. No, of course not. I always want to make myself better like you do, like any intelligent person should want to do. But I know a snaky, fucking sorry son of a bitch when I hear one. And that was him. And whatever, he did his thing, talked his shit, and I was like, damn, that's a slime ball of a dude. I don't even know who he is. He's not even anybody. Then I looked him up. I was like, okay, but he still ain't no one, Like, for real, you still local. You're local. It doesn't matter. You're 9-0 at the time, 9-0, 9-1, whatever. And then anyhow, fast forward, you have his fights, and it's like, all right, they're like very nut hugging. They're very, whatever, non-action. Then he starts talking shit, and it's like, all right, this guy's talking a little bit too much shit for somebody who's not putting on a lot of action. And then at that point, boom, it was like point of no return. And I don't know who became his promoter, his manager, his whatever, but whoever it was convinced him to just talk more shit than he needed to. And that catapulted him to where he's at. Now, no talking shit about what he's done to get here. And definitely on his last fight. But let's attack that real quick. 'Cause that had to be, last we let off at the weirdness of the fight of what it did to the gym. Tyron versus Robbie. Now we're fast forwarding. Now Tyron doesn't really train with you guys that much, even if he's affiliated. He doesn't. Robbie, same thing.
Right, Robbie moved on.
Never on bad terms, but moved on. Now, here comes Kobe, still been there the whole time. Kobe fights Robbie, and it was, I don't know, Mikey. I know this is a weird position for you. Can't talk shit about Kobe. He did his thing. Looked like little T-Rex rabbit punches for several rounds. But it weirded me out to see Robbie fight, if you want to call it that, the way he did. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I watched that fight, and I noticed that Robbie wasn't letting it go, and and I say letting it go, I mean letting his offense go. He was doing a lot of bobbing and weaving and parrying and blocking, but he wasn't countering off it. So I found it a little bit
Agreed.
because that's what you should do. If you're going to be slipping and rolling, bobbing and weaving, parrying, you should be coming back with a counter. So I don't know what the cause.
Otherwise, that's a lot of wasted energy.
It's a wasted energy.
Like, why would you do all that?
It's like wasted energy. It's
If
like,
you can dodge a punch, you can come right back on top.
Exactly.
Makes no sense.
So I wasn't sure what was going on there with that. The only thing I could probably say is that, probably had so much concern about Colby's ability to take him down that perhaps he didn't want to let his hands go and was more focused on defending a takedown, that he wouldn't let his offense go. Because that's the only thing I could think of. Because, I mean, say what you will about Colby, but, his wrestling game is top,
for sure.
top
It
notch.
is.
His
It
card is
is.
top notch, and that's always his biggest asset, and there's always a threat against any of his opponents. Is that so? You have to be wary of that. But, and I'm not speaking bad about what Robbie did, but perhaps he let that play too much a part into his game. I mean, you shouldn't be worrying about so much about what somebody else is doing. You got to start focusing sometimes on what you're going to do.
So as somebody who's been in the game for so long, one of the kryptonites to certain fighters or certain fight approaches is adjusting to a fighter's strengths versus applying yours and adjusting to their weakness. In other words, I remember when GSP did his thing, too many people tried to get ready for GSP. Hey, man, I know he's going to, throw this and that, and he's just going to try to take me down and hump my calf. And then I remember, I think it was Carlos Condit who gave him his first good run after a while, if I'm not mistaken. Carlos was like, I'm just going to do me, and that's it. And I'm going to make him adjust to me.
Exactly. You have to present the threat as well.
Yeah, you have to. Because the best offense is a good defense, and the best defense is a good offense. So you definitely have to counterbalance whatever it is that's going on with this individual, and I know that you believe in that. And I guess we'll see how that happens with him moving forward now. Being involved in Colby's, I don't want to say being involved in his career like you were one of the primary coaches, but seeing him bloom, being part of the whole organization, so on and so forth. How do you feel about the fight coming up if, he is going to get it with Kamaru
Usman and Colby?
Yeah.
Why are we talking about that if we have Dustin Poirier and
Well, because that's what's coming up next. That's
Dustin Poirier and Khabib comes up
I'm
next?
talking about the conversation.
Oh, I thought you said the fight.
No. I mean, that's what's coming up for him.
Oh, yeah, for Kobe.
Yeah, that's what's next for Kobe. There's nobody else. It's already it's signed on, but that's it. That he's going to go against Kamaru Usman. So what I'm asking you is, how do you feel about that fight?
Honestly,
you were in many episodes of the tough filming when Black Zillions went against ATT.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because Usman can wrestle as well and he could defend, but and he'll be more offensive minded than Robbie was with Kobe in his fight. That's for sure. So it'll be an interesting matchup to see. I mean, everybody's got their opinion about what they think, but
will it happen before December, Gus?
What? The fight?
Yeah, is it already targeted or not? Spoken about but not signed?
I
I'm
don't.
not sure.
I don't think it'll happen before December.
Fuck.
It probably would. I say
Okay.
November.
I think that's more of a reason why they need to pay George the right amount of money to fucking fight Nate Diaz, bro.
they need to pay George or whatever it is. They need
Yeah,
to pay
dude,
him
are you kidding
to make
me?
that fight happen because that's the fight that fans wanna
Dude,
see.
two of the hottest fucking fighters right now. Two of the only fighters that speaks for the streets, for the lower income, for the third worlds, for the this, for the that. That's them, man. Make this shit happen. Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm just ready for those press conferences. That's
Bro,
what I want to see.
I don't think they're gonna go off on each other. I don't think they should.
Yeah, but they're gonna
They
talk
don't need
real.
to.
They don't need to.
They don't need to. It sells itself.
It's real, recognized real. It's
Yeah.
look, if you
They're
want
gonna talk shit though. They're
Hey,
gonna
look,
talk real shit.
I mean, I think they're gonna be like, listen, man. he's great at this and that. I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna kick his fucking legs off, and then when I kick his legs off, he's gonna have to adjust, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, and then it's like that. But it's not like you're a pussy, you're a bitch.
No,
Motherfucker, we're two G's.
Yeah,
You can't talk that.
Straight up G's.
Yeah, that's.
Bro, you can't go wrong with Nate Diaz, man. It's
Nah,
just-
Damn, that would be so epic, bro.
But listen, bro, that fight. Listen, they could announce that fight, and I don't even think that they need to promote that fight
Oh,
for it to
dude.
be sold out.
no, man. That's
They
gonna
don't have to travel the country. That shit's just gonna be easy pickings on its own. But before we go into that, and we will, let's talk about the biggest thing coming out of ATT right now, coming up next fucking week. Today's date is September 1st.
and it's on September 7th.
We literally have hit the first of the month. Currently, we're recording this from Miami, and we are currently looking at a hurricane that's about to go westbound into
It actually
central.
I just saw an update. I just got a text 30 seconds ago. They just updated. It is stronger than Andrew.
Holy
It
shit!
just passed over the Bahamas.
But is it going west, northwest, or west east?
They have no clue.
I'm sorry,
it's sitting
southwest?
on the Bahamas right now, so they have no
Holy
clue whether it's
shit.
going to go west, north, south,
I
east.
just hope it avoids Boca.
But it's currently
you
the
know-
strongest hurricane in the last 5 years.
You know what's fucked up, and I'm not trying to avoid what you just said.
Last
even,
five-
even,
you
even
know,
though I
last
don't, even
25
though I
years.
don't feel negativity, but I was talking to my client about this on Thursday when I trained her kid, and I was supposed to train her Friday. She's like, Wesley, yo no creo que voy a entrenar contigo mañana. She said, I don't think I'm gonna train with you tomorrow. I said, why not? The hurricane doesn't get here till Sunday, Monday. Because I gotta get ready, and it just takes a real big toll on me. And I'm like, yo, are you kidding me? I was like, come on, man, don't do that. Just go home, relax, chill. You need to work out, blah, 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 blah. Anyhow, I walked them outside like I always do, and I'm getting ready to walk them to their car. I said, man, you guys be careful, this, that. And she goes in Spanish, you know what, Wes? I know that hurricane's not going to hit us. I go, yeah, because the fucking meteorologist is showing us that it's probably going to go this route, and that's just it. Like, don't get stupid with it. Like, just let it be. She's like, no. Every time a hurricane comes, I pray to God. And I don't care what anybody else prays. I know that God answers every time. When it has to do with weather and I ask him something, he answers. So I know for sure this thing's going to bounce. She texts me when it bounced. She's like, I told you. I said,
Hey,
listen,
hey.
you and your brujeria can go
It's
somewhere
way-
else.
that-
Bro,
that
I
could be-
hope it goes that way. Continue to pray, that lady. Light up a cigar,
Or
blow
whatever,
it.
yeah.
Thank Chango. Give some sweets in the room. Whatever it is, man. Let that hurricane shift away from here.
But regardless, hey, you know what? Again, and we're not closing out just yet, but again, that's another reason why I'm so thankful for Mikey coming over here, because he had to drive about an hour plus to make it down this way. It's not the furthest drive. It's actually a beautiful drive. But with the traffic that we got in South Florida, especially when there's a fucking hurricane going on, yeah, people act stupid and it makes it a longer drive. So, Mikey, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming here. But, all right, man, let's talk about this ginormous fucking fight coming up. We're about to get some biased opinions. We're about to get some real deal opinions. We might, ruffle some feathers. But Dustin Poirier versus Khabib, whatever you say his name, dude, this is a fucking awesome fight, man. It is so big. It's so awesome, and everybody's looking forward to it. And people really, really think, minus Tony Ferguson, because of his ground ability,
Right.
because of the sharpness of his elbows, because of his great conditioning and chin, people think Dustin is the only other person who can knock Khabib out of his reign. Let's talk 100. Let's respect Khabib's skill level, where he's gotten, where he's at, where we think he'll be, and let's talk about Dustin and what you know about him. And I know he mixes camps up. He trains. I think the beginning phase of his camp in Louisiana, and then when he goes into that real shit mode, he comes to ATT. Is that pretty much what's going on?
No, Dustin. Well, he lives in Louisiana,
Right.
So I mean, I think he has his own spot out there also. But what he does his camps at ATT, and he'll come even down. I've seen him help other guys before, also come to ATT to help guys. So he's consistent with his training at American Top Team. It's so he does the majority of his stuff at American Top Team.
I wanna I want to give Dustin a shout out in regards to I'm never, ever, ever a starstruck guy. I don't give a fuck who you put in front of me. You can remember it, quote it, write it down, take a picture. You'll never see me get starstruck for anybody. If I see a star, I'm going to look at them and be like, I'm a bigger star than you. You're withering away. I'm the brighter star.
I look at a star and I do like, I give him this.
Yeah.
What's up?
Real, recognize real?
Yeah,
Yes?
what's up?
I'm a star too? Okay, cool. So
You're an idiot.
I let that says you, the most vain motherfucker in here. I walked out. I was in the Keys with our
Can't believe I'm friends with you.
our close brother Damian McLean. Shout out to my boy D.
Sentinel 7. Whoop.
What Wolfhound. Shout out to Damian D. He's a super close friend of ours. He fucking hangs out with you. You guys hang out more than we get to hang out, which I'm pretty jealous of. Fuck you guys.
Jersey boy.
Yeah, but we were hanging out in the Keys. And we had stayed down there for about 4 days. I don't know if Damien can text me if we were live. He'd text me right now. But I think it was during a 4th of July weekend type shit. But anyways, so we go to this bar. And I remember me and Damien, we're looking at, you know Damien, dog. He's a fucking war veteran, PTSD motherfucker. He's not trying to be around more people than he has to.
No.
And if it's 1 a.m., if he's not deep in some pussy, he needs to be knocked the fuck out. That's it. There's nothing else about it. There's no secret to it. He's like, dude, it's like 9:45. We can go here, we can go there. He's looking through his phone, but there's supposed to be a little bar right here. Seems kind of rinky-dink, but I'm like, dude, that's what we need. Let's go to a rinky-dink bar. Let's just get stupid sloppy with about 4 or 5 IPA beers, and then walk right back down to we were stationed at the Navy thing down there. Yeah, Navy base.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, man, let's do that. Sure enough, we go to this place. It was a very southern. I forgot the name of the place, dude. It looked like you were going into somebody's backyard, and immediately you see this band right there on this tiny ass stage, and you see a fucking bunch of people just sweating their asses off, standing around close to the stage. It's not like a performance, but yeah, it is. And then who's in the back of this fucking little group in his own little sweat box? Fucking Dustin Poirier with Will Brooks.
Oh my God.
Will Brooks is with his lady. He's fucking hammered. Will Brooks is hammered. Him and his lady are just having a good old time. He's coming back and forth hugging Dustin like, yo. Dustin's holding his own. He's doing his little fucking barnyard dance. I don't know what. He's in the zone, dog, chilling. And I see him, and I'm like, I see him chilling for a minute. I'm like, this dude is just in his lone, and nobody knows who he is. So I go up to him. I'm like, Poirier. He goes, oh, shit. And he fucking acts like he gets to attention. I was like, Dustin. He said, yes, sir. Literally, yes, sir. I said, hey, man, I'm not one to go up to people and kill them during their vibe, bro, but it's good to see that, you're such an important figure in the MMA, world, and you just over here chilling. Oh, yeah, man, this is how I get down there. He's the first one who schooled me and reminded me that the Florida Keys, not the Florida Keys, but Key West, unbeknown to a lot of people, is a replica of of New Orleans. Duval Street.
Yeah, Duval Street.
Is a replica of New Orleans. So he's the first one that told me that. And then he's like, yeah, because I'm New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans. I'm from Louisiana, this and that. My uncle told me this, that, boom, Key West. And I'm like, is it really? He's like, yeah. He starts telling me about the same way y'all got this over here and this. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you're right. Holy shit.
They're known for second floor bars.
Dude, I had no idea. He had to tell me that. He did it just chilling. I'm like, stay right here, man. What you drinking? He said, man, I'll take whatever beer you want to get. I said, I'm an IPA guy. He said, I'll take whatever you get. Boom. I went and got 2 IPAs. He said, Will, you want one? Will said he was good. I came back. I got him a beer. Bro, we chopped it up. We talked about you. We talked about other people. And anyway, long story short, man, just as down to earth as you can imagine, dog.
Listen, bro. Dustin, I don't talk to Dustin much and stuff, but I respect Dustin. Dustin is another one. It's a real dude. Real fighter.
Right.
Him and George manufactured, at the same plant. Put it that way.
Didn't we talk about this? We talked about this, bro.
Yeah, because I've had the same experience with Dustin. I saw him at a hotel. He's super nice guy, super humble.
I mean, that's all I can say. It's like, it's a real dude. I respect his game. He's not about that bullshit. And nothing but props to him, and congratulations to him for all his successes. that he's achieved finally, because he's been in this game for a while.
Yeah.
So we did a Gus and I have I don't want to say an MMA. We have a Combat and Coffee. That's what it's called. We had a Combat and Coffee podcast that we started doing, and oh shit,
It's good. Keep rolling.
and anyways, it in that we just filmed on Thursday. Yeah, we just filmed Thursday a few days ago. We were talking about George, and then we talked about Dustin, and then I told him, I said, dude, they have a very similar story. They're both veterans in the game who have been up and down, never down, but up and down.
Yeah.
And they both had opportunities where they could have launched, and they both missed those opportunities. Dustin missed it with Connor, which he got clipped on some bullshit punch, whatever. George missed it at Strikeforce when he let Gilbert Melendez overwhelm him. I don't know why. I mean, but he still went 5 rounds with her, but he lost. It wasn't George though. And then I think George got caught up in another fight that Damian Maia, he didn't fuck that up. It was just Damian Maia. And that's just that, you know? So
But then he lost to Al and Quinto West. I thought he won.
Yeah.
yeah,
Everybody-
yeah.
he
Yeah,
did
they booed.
Yeah.
Booed. That's when George took the layoff, right?
Yeah.
Fucking Al Quinta got booed. Of course he should have got booed. I mean, no, he shouldn't have got booed. That's a lie. It wasn't Al Quinta's fault. It was the judge's fault.
Yeah.
But Al Quinta shouldn't have clicked on them like he did. Anyhow, they both have a great story, and to see them both at this point in their careers, you know, the late part of their careers, I only have so many more, and it's great to be here. Let me make the best of it.
Capitalize on it right now.
Yeah, man, it's fucking awesome, dude. And
Yeah, I'm happy for them both, bro. You know, listen. I give props where props are due. You know, I mean, I have no. I often give accolades to other people. You know, and give them the props and stuff like that. But I give them both. You know, those guys. You know, been in the game for a while, and you know, they're at the point right now where they're, I think, at the pinnacle of their success for both Dustin and George. So, make the most of it. You know, capitalize on it. You know, then see what life has in store for you elsewhere also after fighting.
so I'm glad that you said that all like that, because I want that to take us into what I think is a bigger segment of you, and that's what is it that follows. You're 55. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, you look.
Putting it out there. He's
you look-
putting
you
it
look-
out there. Boom.
You look
I'm a young-
39.
I'm a
you
young
look,
55.
You look 39 and a half.
Thank you, my brother.
Okay. Yo, y'all, I hope the fans can see this. I don't know where they're at, but can you see this? Dude's got muscles, tattoos, young shit. He got what I'm sorry, what? This nigga, he's flexing abs. And then tell him who are the glasses made by?
These are Giorgio Armani.
Did you see the commercial that just got filmed? Bro, hey, your fighters, your peoples are gonna clown on you when this shit goes public. I can't wait.
Listen, I take care of myself, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, I'm an OG, but I'm a young at heart, man. You know, and like you asked me, what happens after this?
Yeah, Mikey. So let me get a little bit more detail. So I don't want you to give a number.
Mm-hmm.
You don't got to tell ATT or the world out there or anybody who listens to the podcast that, you know, hey, man, after this, I'm done. You don't got to tell us that, because you don't have to be, because it's all where your heart's at,
Right.
where you and the future wife you're at, where your travels are at, wherever it's all at, where your pockets are at. It's all, everything plays a fucking role. So, but what are those goals? Well, you know, those some of those goals are starting to nearby. You're definitely not some idiot. You're not some, you know, I don't fucking prepare. You're a game planner. You know,
I'm
you
a game planner
blueprint.
for
You
sure.
blueprint for sure. Your military background, your law enforcement background, and then your MMA background. You have no fucking choice. We plan. You know, this is what we do. So, what are the possibilities? What are you contemplating that follows in the next 5 years, 10 years? 5 years, I still see you at ATT. I still see you doing things. Past 5 years, a lot of different things can happen. A lot of different things can happen within the next 2 years. I just don't know that I've gotten that hint from it. But what's going through your mind? What's going on? We don't need to hear who the love life is and all that, but we know there's somebody there that's going to play a role if things keep going well, if things bloom. So what is it that Mikey Rodriguez, you know, sees happening from the next 2 to 3, 5 years up until 10, 15 years from now?
Well,
That was a deep ass breath.
Let me, to keep it, you know,
means a
keep
lot
it
as good
real.
as he said.
He said a lot. I'm like, okay, let me write this shit down. All right. To keep it real, keep it, 100 with you, like I always do. Keep it 100. Most of my goals and stuff I've already achieved, in life. The only goal I really want for myself in the immediate future, and immediate future, I say within the next couple of years and beyond. I just want to enjoy my life. I just want to enjoy my partner, whoever I'm with, whoever I end up with. I want to be a good man to that person. I want to love, support, and encourage her to achieve everything that she wants to do, and I just want to be there to help facilitate that, and to enjoy life, travel, and live a good life. I want to continue to live, as I always say, a life worth living.
And you feel like you've already done that to a great extent, and now you just want to continue it.
I have a lot of things that I need, in life. The like I said, the only one thing I want that I see is that relationship with someone, and to just enjoy life, and to operate and be as one, and to just capture and embrace the wonderful moments that life has to offer.
So you really do speak, and that sounds great, and it sounds really loving, and pretty much a lot of females that would be melting right now, just drip, 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 drip. But I want to ask you some real shit though.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of just didn't even mention or hint towards any kind of business, any kind of continuing of the career, any kind of financial retirement investment, so on and so forth. Everything that you said was almost all.
You were law enforcement, so you have a pension. So
Yeah, I have a good pension.
Yeah. No,
it's a 80-90% of.
No. It's I put it this way. I don't have to work.
That's good.
okay. So again,
He just hit us with the. Right there, he gave us one of these.
but that's good. But
That's real good.
But that's because that plays a role, bro. That's just like, I don't want no kids. I don't want any kids. I'm telling you right now, I don't want any kids. Hold on,
I love kids.
and I'm not speaking, and I fucking adore kids, but I don't want any kids.
Well, you got no choice now.
No, check it out. What the fuck you talking about?
You shooting blanks, homie.
Nah, you don't know that. Okay,
Low
you're probably
T
right.
level,
You're
low
probably
T
right.
level.
No. But I don't have a low T level. I'll tell you that right fucking now. I'll go show you the fucking testosterone boosting pills that I have in the goddamn cabinet right now. Shout out to Monster testosterone pills, whatever the fuck. It's got like a gorilla in the front.
I don't know what that is.
Anyways, no, what I'm saying is, if I was, let's say what happens is gonna happen, and that's this fucking podcast blowing the goddamn fuck up, and I'm over here doing great. We're all doing great. Everybody's loving life, and I got deep ass pockets. I'm the next fucking Joe Rogan. That could influence me being cool with having kids. And I want to make sure that I'm honest about that. I don't want to be a hypocrite about that. If my pockets were that deep, where I can take time off, I can be home and not worry. I'm not worried about financial issues. About, you understand that a kid costs you about $350,000 by the time they hit 18. I might be missing that, but by a few grand. But I know I'm not off. A kid costs you on average $350,000 by the time they're 18. That's just 18, motherfucker. You still got plenty more years. I'm 42, dog. I don't care to fuck with that. Why? Because of how much it'll hold me back from doing all kind of shit. Financially, travel, this, that, whatever. But if I was pretty fucking rich, it changes everything. So that's all I'm saying. That's all. So you're financially stable. You're great. You're settled. You ain't got to work no more. Does that play enough of a role where, hey, do you care to have kids, or is that out the picture? Is that something that you're not even thinking about now?
I mean, to be honest with you, it's like, well, I'm just speaking about it's myself right now, and now I have someone who I'm involved with. we have a future together. Obviously, that's a contributing factor because she has something as well. So that even it strengthens us.
Right.
As regards to having children, I'm not opposed to having children, at all. I mean, I like children. I'm not opposed to it. It just happens if it works out for us, or if it's in the cards, you know what I mean? Not everybody's, meant to be a parent. Not everybody should be a parent. And then some people that absolutely they would be awesome parents.
Right.
So I'm more or less of the mindset like, you know what? Whatever life has in store for me, I'm just going to go ahead and embrace. I'm going to go ahead and try to do the things I can to make it, to facilitate it, but, who knows? Put it that way.
What's going on, beautiful people? Just want to take a moment to thank everyone out there for tuning in. We continue getting so much love and support and appreciate every bit of it. But on that note, if you're a new listener or simply someone who's interested in following our journey, please take a second to subscribe to our channel or download whatever necessary app in order to never miss a show. Also, why not give us a follow on Instagram at BlackSheep305 and at Gus Villamil. Again, we truly appreciate all the love and support and look forward to continuously giving everyone listening a different perspective. Now let's get back to the podcast. I really understand exactly where you're coming from, and I love the fact that you're so open to it. I think that speaks volumes. I definitely approach when I'm going to attempt a serious relationship. Right now I'm single, but my ex, before I attempted it with her, I already was willing to accept that she had 2 kids, and that was something that I was like, I'm okay with. Of course, I think just about anybody I take a chance with, they're gonna have kids.
Oh yeah,
the numbers are up there
for sure, bro. Listen,
and I'll do it, and I'm okay with it 100% now.
I have no problem with it whatsoever.
If I meet the one tomorrow, and she's like, a couple months from now, hey, I want to have a kid, I'm gonna break her heart. I don't want to have a kid. Or if I meet the one tomorrow, and before 3 months from now hits, the Black Sheep perspective goes fucking skyrocket and shit's looking pretty. Okay, I got money. I got less issues to worry about. I would be more willing. I just hope that makes sense. I'm not trying to be hypocritical. I don't want the headache. I don't want the burden. I don't want that type of alteration in my life unless I was so financially stable that hit would be less impactful. It would not be as big of a hit if I have that much money, if I'm that wealthy. Otherwise, I don't want to go through that struggle. I want to be able to travel for my business. I want to be able to travel for everything that I love to do. I want to be able to travel because guess what? I haven't traveled, and I'm 42, and I've gotten to this point where I have the ability to make that decision of whether or not I want to accept certain kids, age bracket of kids, or to have a kid. And I guess that's just where I stand with it. But I think the way you said it was pretty fucking well said because of given all the circumstances, and that's what an open-minded person needs to be thinking like. So that's good for you. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, like for me, like you said, if she had a child or two, honestly, I don't base if I'm entering a relationship upon that. I mean, I accept or I love the woman for who she is, and she has a child, 2 children, however number of children, it doesn't matter because if I love her, I love her totally, and totally means her family as well.
Right, taking the whole package.
So sure. You just have to be. I mean, you just have to be the type of individual that's willing to do that. Prepared. Some people aren't. Some people won't date women that have children or anything like that. They're like, nah, that ain't my kid. I'm like, oh, please, bro. That's ridiculous, bro.
But
I have that mindset, but that's because I'm young. I'm not gonna date somebody with a kid at 24.
Yeah, I mean, you have time.
That's understandable. You got way bigger options. There's no reason you have to commit to that. But what I was saying, I think Mikey would say is, if it felt legit, if it was a real damn dude, like I mean, if you're a moron and you're always fucking falling in love, like you know who. We don't gotta say his name because then he's gonna fucking get hurt, fucking butt hurt forever with me. But you know who. Yeah. If it was like that, then you have no credibility. But if you're not like that, and you felt some dope shit, and this girl's, all the right stuff, and then I will tell you're an idiot if you let that wall of she's got a kid. It happens.
Hey man, when it's real. You feel it's real. You feel that connection. You feel that energy. You can feel it. You get that vibe. So I'm like, you just got to go with it, man. The heart wants it. You just got to go with it sometimes, within reason. You can't get reckless, but you have to follow your heart sometimes. And
But reckless. See, I want to elaborate on reckless though. You can't get reckless. But what's reckless? Reckless is if you don't share a certain amount of common grounds, I don't think you should entertain this. There needs to be a certain amount of common grounds. When I say that, I don't mean a religion or a parental. No, I mean like
a thought process, a way of thinking.
But not just that though, Mikey. If we all work 9 to 5s, and that's a hypothetical. If we all work 9 to 5s, if we're all slave driven Monday through Friday, in some shape or form, 8 to 9 hours, and then you throw in traffic, that's 9 to 10 hours. And then we only have so much time that we spend together / with the kids. Really, all we got is the weekend. That's like all we got, the weekend. That's your typical household. Does that make sense? Am I?
No, that's true. It's true.
I hope people, but I don't think people think like that. I think people think on the lovey-dove tip and this and that bullshit. No, man. Do the fucking math. Do the math. Math will solve everything, man. So if all we got is so many, all right, well, we got about 3 or 4 hours where we're awake throughout the week that we see each other. But we got kids, so there's homework, there's bathing, there's cleaning, there's this, there's entertainment, there's that. By the time we're done, if I got enough energy to fuck you, you're lucky. Okay? If I have enough, in me to we'll sit through one Netflix special, you're lucky. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can't sit through
So
one
all that-
episode of anything.
So
I'm
now,
only 24. I can imagine when I'm older.
so what do we have then? We got the weekend. So guess what though? It's football season, and my whole life I grew up as a diehard Doll fan.
So sorry for you.
And then you go fuck yourself. And then you never even learned football for a day of your life. You don't give a shit about sports, just nothing. But when I met you, you were hot as fuck. You had big titties and the sex was great. And I didn't think about that bullshit. So now we fast forward 4 or 6 years into our relationship, and now it's misery. Because the only time we got time to breathe, we don't even care to hang out. Because we both like doing 2 different things. It's a dumbass setup. So what I'm saying is you have to filter out what you're going for. And if you feel that love bug, you've got to be realistic in regards to like, okay, I feel the love bug, but let me go down that checklist. How many checks does she have on the checklist? Because otherwise it just doesn't make sense. Otherwise I just need to realize that pussy was phenomenal last night. Or I need to realize that, I'm a little lonely because I haven't been with anybody for a year and I have been sexually active for 4 months and that girl just did all that. That's really sitting back, calming yourself down and taking things for what it is. So if you do that, kudos to you. At that point, I agree with Mikey. Yo, go with the feeling. Take the chance. Just don't be an idiot.
Yeah, you gotta. For me, I believe that you gotta take the chance. Sometimes, how will you know if you never go ahead and take the chance?
Right.
And sometimes it'll work out. Sometimes it won't. I mean, ideally for me, in a situation, is a position in life that I'm in right now, I love to have someone that's like, she's either doing something part-time, which allots us plenty of time for us and whomever, if there's family involved, children involved, or she's at a stage where, she's her own boss doing her own show, so she can control her time as to when she's doing things and when she's not doing things. Ideally, that would be a best situation for me. And the lifestyle that I want to have.
I just got an article. I subscribe to Entrepreneur. I don't know if you ever read that magazine. It's a fucking amazing magazine.
I don't know how to read.
Well, anyhow, it's a great magazine. It's all about business owners and what they do and all the top businesses and how they got there and so on and so forth. And one of the biggest things that it was talking about was kind of what you were just alluding to in regards to the mixture of the business with the relationship and finding that right formula. And some of these people who hit the highest points of their, I don't want to say fame, but of their prosperity, is because they went a different route. And like, for instance, their meetings was never in the boardroom, was never anything formal. They had a patio and they would serve drinks and you had an hour and a half and there was a couch and a this and a that, because they thought that when people were there naturally themselves, it brought out the best in them. And that's the same thing that applies to you talking about what's ideal with with a relationship. Certain things need to fit just right in order for it to be worth trying. But if certain things fit right, yeah, man, you have to be willing to jump. You got to give it a try. You got to grab your nuts. Things of that nature. Again, if you're homeboy, no, you need to stop doing that. Don't make another decision without consulting with somebody else. But
I was engaged at 24. It's the stupidest thing I almost
it
did.
happens, man. Of course, I disagree with it, but it happens. It happens. I was
It's
talking.
like what he said. What was it you said? Which I'm taking that saying that the love blinds heart blinds the brain.
Yeah, the heart blinds the mind sometimes.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
The best way to describe it is emotions cloud judgment.
Yeah.
If you it's the same thing. If you live and die by that, if you remind yourself of that, man, it'll help you sit back and think about, okay, hold on, I'm pretty fired up right now.
It's happened to me.
And it could be so many different things. It could be Mikey in the middle of a fight, and he's pissed off that his fighter didn't fucking throw the combination, and then because of that, emotionally, in between rounds, he tells, Tisha Torres, hey, I told you to fucking go do this and do some that, instead of realizing, like, you know what? She's not thinking clearly. I'm being emotional. Let's get back to her level. Let's see if we can get her to take a shot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's the levels of recognizing, hey, I'm being a little emotional right now, and that's causing me not to think the way I should. It happens to all of us.
It does,
It gets
man.
the best out of all of us.
We all experience emotions. Same for me as well. I experience emotions at this stage of my life also. I can't help it. I'm a human being. All I can do is try to sometimes not let my emotions get carried away.
Right.
Because honestly, like a lot of people, they'll see me someplace, whatever. They know my affiliation with the team. They'll see my social media. And people will go ahead and form an opinion of me
Right.
that is not necessarily who I am. They see something on social media or in public and they think, oh, he must be this, he must be that. No, man, there's so many different layers to me. So don't judge me based upon what you see on, the internet, or even what you see. You may see me out in the gym or at a venue, at a fight, and they tend to think a certain way about me. But I would surprise so many people if they actually got to know who I really am. They would be like, wow, it's like I would never think that he was like that. Especially when it comes to me. Listen, I'm a sensitive guy, man. I hold no punches about it. And I'm not making excuses for it. That's who I am. And I'm always going to be that way. I'm a loving individual. I care about people. And if I love you 100%. I'm the type of guy, if I love you, I'm with a woman and I love her.
Right.
I love her 100%. There is no fucking detour path. No, baby. I'm yours 100. And I'll not only show you that love and make you feel that love. That's the type of guy I am. I believe in all that. I believe in the fairy tale. It's not common. I know it's different than what a lot of other men, a lot of other men who have.
That's the opposite of like 75% of men.
Yeah, and and the men who've like lived the life that I've lived, that's not the norm. But fuck it, bro. I'm not normal.
Well, and I think that falls right on cue with Black Sheep, which is a great thing. And you know what? And I think that's awesome that you kind of did that on your own, and we definitely didn't set that up, and fucking the video footage can show it. But
Listen, Wes. You gotta always be true to yourself, man. Always be real to yourself, man. Fuck what everybody else wants you to be, what people think of you. Be true to yourself. Be true to your heart, man. And that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, when you're going to sleep at night, if you have somebody, it can be your woman next to you that you can reach and hold and feel, or just have that family member that is there, or that best friend that that you love and support each other. Those are good things in life.
Gus, it could also be another guy, bro. So don't get fired.
I'm not gonna make jokes about that.
Whomever you choose to love, put it that way. It's just that we just have to cherish the good people in our lives and stuff like that. I mean, I'm all about connecting, on a different level, on an emotional, spiritual. I want to connect, the souls. That's what I'm about. Everything else doesn't mean anything to me. Not at this stage, man. I'm more about that. you know, I'd rather take my time. Like I said, I'd rather take my time than waste my time.
So look, it seems like we don't want to jump the gun, but it seems like you're in a pretty good place with this significant other.
No, it's a work in progress, bro. Let me not get crazy. I'm just seeing what's happening.
I said a good place. That's why
okay.
we know. It's vibing good. It's vibing good. But regardless, man, even, honestly speaking, I'm not trying to sound like a fucking dog because that's the last thing I am. But if it doesn't go through with her, then fuck, okay, on to the next. Not on to the next, like, fuck her, next bitch. No, but just life moves on.
Yeah.
Okay? There is no just one, in my opinion. There is no soulmate. There's just a certain real deep, energetic.
I might have to.
You
I might have to travel. I might have to travel out of South Florida for that one, though.
I say it all the time. My wife does not live in Miami.
So
there's two things. I tell my mom this all the time. My wife either does not live in Miami, or my soulmate died in a car crash before I met her.
So I don't think either one of us are really trying to be comical about it on purpose. I think, look, every joke holds a significant amount of ground of truth, right?
Yeah.
And the truth is that, okay, for instance, not to get off topic, I don't believe in karma. What I do believe in is if you hang around shit, you're bound to attract flies.
Yep.
So if we're a bunch of thugged out motherfuckers, pretty sure I'm going to get in some shit at some point. If we're thugged out motherfuckers and we get away with a bunch of shit, at some point, numerically speaking, especially since we hang around dirt, something's going to come back at us. It's not karma like some phenomenal, spiritual, whatever the fuck that literally directs itself at, hey, it's your turn again. No, it's just the numbers game. If I keep cliff hanging, I'm bound to fall. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit. If I fucking fight MMA, I'm bound to get clipped. I'm bound to get hurt. I'm bound to this. I don't want to put so much emphasis into the, what do you want to call it, the soulmate or anything of that nature. I don't want to go that deep into it. What I want to say is hold your ground on the bar that you set. Be realistic about that bar. We're not talking about perfection. We're not talking about a fucking 10.
Expectations.
Yeah, we're not talking about a 10 if you know goddamn well you're a 4. You know? We're not talking about a 5'11" model if we know you're 5'5".
I've been with girls that tall.
I know, but you don't want to, you can set that bar. You can set that bar.
No, tall girls like me, but it will never work out. I just would never
Wes,
do it.
You know what? I had someone tell me before. She told me. She says, Mikey, you set the bar very high. It's hard for anybody to compete with that.
So what?
And I'm like,
Nothing wrong with that.
and I'm like, you're damn right.
So fucking what?
I ain't anybody.
Mike, if you look at my face, I'm not flinching, bro. So fucking what?
Yeah.
You know how many times I got told that? I don't need to be told that.
Yeah.
I tell, matter of fact, look, I'll give props to my ex right now. She knows who she is.
Yeah.
I'll give props to her. She raised the bar. The bar rose
Mm-hmm.
because of the things, how she was, how she treated me, the amazing relationship we had. Forget about why we're not together. It's not going to happen. But she brought things to the table that I was like, yo, I always wanted that. And I know that's what I deserve. I knew you existed. Okay, but you just brought too much else to the table. And then that was that. But what she brought herself as an individual was amazing. And she raised the bar. And I told her part of our 3 breakups before it was finally official. Yo, you did good by me and I did good by you. I know I raised your bar. I know I helped her become better. And I know I helped her get through a whole lot. She helped remind me of, hey, don't matter about your age, you're this, you're that. Don't fucking lower the bar. We exist. Be patient. Have fun. Do your fucking thing. Be focused. And another one of us will pop up. And that's what I feel. But once again, you got to attract it. You got to manifest it.
Yeah.
It's not going to just fall in your lap. I think that's awesome that you're flirting with that. We'll leave it at that. You're flirting with it. Whether it goes through or not, doesn't matter. It won't break you. It can help make you, but it won't break you. Mikey, tell us what's coming up, before we close out on this amazing podcast with you. What do we got coming up? What can we look forward to in regards to specific fighters who are completely under your tutelage? I know that ATT, you guys got magnificent way of spreading your coaches around and who works with who and who does what and who vibes with who. No beef. It's just about what works. Hence why you guys have been so successful. You had bumps in the road in the past and you bounced back. And right now you guys are back on top again. Yeah. So there's a lot of great things going on over there. What do you personally that you're connected to? It's not about anybody else in ATT because there's so much going on. But what do you personally have going on that you're connected to that's coming up with your fighters? Enlighten us on that real quick.
Well, what I got coming up in the immediate future is October 11th at the PFL championships in Las Vegas. And that'll be with Magomed Karamov. He's the 2018 welterweight champ. Right now we're in camp. Everything is looking good.
Gus, did you say he's undefeated or no?
No, he's not. He has a couple of
defeats. It's a different guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's a FN champ, world champ.
Yeah, he's Magomed's got a couple but he's undefeated in the PFL.
Okay.
So we've got the October 11th date coming up in Las Vegas. Everything is going well in camp. He's such a good guy. He's a great fighter, so well-rounded. So that's what's coming up immediately for me as far as next fight, next travel. Obviously, there's always something that pops up, so I'll just have to see what happens and stuff like that, But as far as the next, like what I would consider big event, because I do consider a big event, PFL does a wonderful job. They put on the great shows. They got some good fighters there.
Yeah, they definitely stepped their game up. They're doing really good.
Yeah.
They're probably at their best right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's heavily influenced by entertainers too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
That's
owned
very
by
true.
Yeah,
I think
They
the
have-
big partial owner is Kevin Hart.
yeah. Kevin Hart's involved in some way.
I did not know
He's
that.
he's a big part owner of it.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, they really do a good job, man. And what I really like about that organization, to be honest with you, I mean, I've dealt with all the organizations, all the
Right.
big ones. You go there, man, you feel like, it's almost like checking out my boys, like family. They make you feel welcome. There's a good relationship. I mean, at least I have a good relationship with the guys who run that show there. I mean, one of the guys who runs the show there, he's amazing and he's such a good guy, is Ray Sifo.
Yeah,
And,
the owner of PFL, which was once the owner of
Well, yeah,
WSOP.
he's a
WSOP.
president.
I'm sorry, the president.
Yeah, president. But
Which is also he was also a very established, very known fighter.
Kickboxer, yeah.
Fuck
but
yeah,
world
heavy,
champ,
heavy
bro.
goddamn kicks, boy. Those
Bro.
ham hocks.
Ray Sifo is no joke.
Nah,
Big
at
up.
all. Yeah.
Big ups to Ray Sifo. You're my boy. I'll see you at the next event.
Shout out to Ray.
Shout out to him, man. He's a good guy, but he's so like easygoing too. You know. And
Where's he from? He's not Hawaiian. He's not
I think
Samoan.
from
What is
New Zealand?
New
or something
Zealand?
like
Is that what it
yeah,
is?
I think so. Yeah. But listen, that
big
dude,
teddy bear who'll fucking break your neck
Oh,
like a lot of New Zealanders.
big time. And then I got another guy there who from that organization, guy Eduardo, man, he's real good people, always looking out, taking care of us and stuff like that. They really treat the guys really well there, and they pay them good money as well. So,
Right.
And they're really, honestly, this is the cliche that other organizations use, but the PFL, these guys are really about the fighters, man.
That's what's up, man.
They're really about the fighters, and you fight, you win, you.
Listen, you know
move
what?
on.
Listen. I want to be clear with this. I know this is the Black Sheep perspective, and we're doing a whole lot of MMA talk. But let me be clear about this, whether it's on.
We're doing some love talk too, bro.
Oh yeah.
We're doing some.
Love
we
hour.
did some crime shit.
Yo.
Some hood shit. We did some love hour. Yeah, you should have Barry White playing in the background when we're going on about our love and sensitivities, brother.
But if one day we're gonna get Gus up to skill where he's
Mike,
just gonna be
Hold on a
full,
second.
just full of buttons like Swiss beats. He's just gonna be ready with everything.
But hold on, Wes. Hold on. Let me look into the camera. My name is Mikey Rod. I'm a Cancer. I like Chardonnay, long walks on the beach, poetry, and my favorite color is magenta.
Holy fuck! Does that shit work?
Open your eyes, Wes.
Oh man, that's it. That's it. It's over with. That's it. Hey girls, if you like to get high, you want to have some good times, talk some shit, we can finish the conversation later. Mikey, you have that big one coming up with PFL, which is great. And by the way, what I was gonna say was, as much as I adore the UFC, like most real fans do, it's It's not. We're not gonna blanket the bullshit that they do, and they got a lot of bullshit going on. A lot of it has to do with their pay towards the fighters. That was always the biggest deal. Now it's becoming a fucking fiasco with just who draws more money.
It's a
not
popularity.
It's not about who's worth it, man, and that sucks when you're a real, MMA enthusiast, when you're a real fan and you know that somebody deserves it and somebody doesn't. The fact that Brock Lesnar was even in a conversation for Daniel Cormier was
Fuck Brock Lesnar. CM Punk fighting in the UFC.
That right there went all downhill. It just things started going downhill from there. I don't want to say since Brock, because the first time Brock kind of earned it. It was cool. It was fine. He was 2-0.
But he was also a decorated wrestler.
Yeah,
CM Punk.
And he was still Brock, so you get it, Dana White made fucking Kimbo, work his way up to get a fight. Even though he lost in the show, he made him, and then he still lost again. And Dana White stuck to his word, and it is what it is. Shout outs to Ferg, man. Nothing but love for the homie, man. But
Rest in peace.
Yeah, man. But it became a shit show when things started becoming what they're becoming. And sorry, but one of your boys, Kobe Covington, is part of that bullshit. And it is what it is. Still, UFC still has, for the most part, the best of the best.
Yeah,
now,
hands down.
Aside from that, Bellator, not the last one that just passed, the one before that. 12 fights, 12 finishes. I think it was 7 knockouts, 2 TKOs, and 3 submissions. That's amazing. Bellator is stepping their shit up. PFL, just dropping bombs right now. It's just great to watch. And something that I give UFC major props on is not the event, even though they're doing good. It's the fucking show, dog, the Contender Series.
Yeah.
That shit is fuck. I think that's what PFL is. To me, PFL is, if you want to make it to the next level, you got to give it all you got right here. And that's why PFL is so good. But that's also the Contender Series. These cocksuckers are like, if you want to make it to the UFC, it's not, hey, let me fight at this local event and just win and just I'll keep winning and eventually I'll get found. No, it's you got invited by the UFC to film on the UFC, and if you do well enough, you'll make it to the UFC. And that's why that series is so well. PFL is doing the same exact thing. So those fights are fucking phenomenal.
You gotta have some incentive,
Of course, you have to. You gotta respect the game. It is what it is. Doesn't matter how much shit we can talk about the UFC. They are the top dogs. They are the NFL. They're the NFL, and that's just that.
I just don't care for how some people say, "Hey, I got to make this money. I just got to get, I got to make." It's like it seems like they'll do anything for fame and for cash. It's like they'll sell themselves, they'll sell their souls and stuff like that.
It's common, Mike. You know that.
Yeah, but I'm just not about that, man. I mean, it's like I won't do anything for money. It's like, what do you do for money? If the guy tell you pull your pants down, let me, put my finger in your ass, you're gonna give him.
Hey, whoa, that's a whole nother podcast, and this ain't being filmed in this fucking house.
You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. Sometimes you gotta, maintain your integrity, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I get it. It's prize fighting, and you're doing it for money, but be careful how you sell yourself.
Right.
It's like especially if you're a female and you're a fighter, or let's just say female in general, but just say, use this as an example, female fighter, and you're out there promoting yourself and stuff like that and objectifying yourself sexually. I'm like, what do you want to be remembered as? You want to be remembered as a fighter, or you want to be remembered as a girl with the ass all hanging out?
Paige Van Zandt.
No, a little bit, but not really.
I mean, not a little bit. She told Dana White in an interview that she makes more money off of Instagram.
Nah, she did it with Ariel Helwani, but yes, you're right.
I mean, it got back to Dana.
What's her name, bro? The blonde chick. She didn't fight Tisha. She did fight Tisha.
What blonde chick?
The ditzy airhead one.
I know who you're talking about. I'm cool with her.
She's a cool chick.
Yeah,
but
I'm friends with her.
she was just all over the internet after the show, after the tough show.
Felice.
She was Felice Herring.
Oh, the
Felice
skinny.
Yeah. Ripped up. After the show,
Yeah, people think
she was all over the internet. I'm talking about almost damn near Playboying it up.
But you know what?
But you know how much money she made? I don't know, but she made plenty. Now, what's the swap?
But she's actually, you know what? I've gotten,
She's actually like that.
No, I actually got to know
That's
her a little
it.
bit. She's actually not a bad person.
It doesn't matter. You're right, Mikey. I'm not saying she is, but listen.
She scaled it back.
What I'm saying is, let's not fucking act like because you on camera or you make it to the UFC in any shape or form that you don't have some form of scumbag, whore, whatever, shit face, whatever person in you. You know, you just made it on camera. You just got the fight on TV. You're still whoever you are. I'm not saying Felicia's anything, but that's just with everybody. You know, you see people on camera, you see them on TV, and you just think all kind of things. I think George, you know, is one of the very few who. Hey guys, just want to check in for a quick second, and I want to remind you that if you like what you're hearing, if you're kind of following us just a little bit, but you want to know more about us, how about make that extra effort? Look us up on Black Sheep 305 on Instagram, Gus Villamil on Instagram. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud. There's a lot of stuff out there. Look us up, guys. We really appreciate the support. We want everybody on board. Thanks again. Let's get back to the show. I never want people to get... All right, for instance, I'll put it on blast. I don't give a fuck. He might never be in here. He might hear about this. But Joelle has a real bad rap in the community, in the local gyms. Joelle has a bad rep because all the fighters who know him and know who he trained with, and I'm not talking about ATT Coconut Creek. Right. I can't speak for them. I can talk about ATT Kendall.
Right.
I can talk about, which is now Freedom Fighters. I can talk about at least 9 or 10 people who 100% stick by their word that Joelle was supposed to pay people a whole lot more and never did, not once but twice. And that taints him big time. Another thing is, you know, God's child, God's soldier. And I'm not a religious person. I'm agnostic. So it's you know, to hear somebody talk about religion in such a fashion and claim to be such a person in regards to the symbolization, and then to know that behind everybody's back, he's a whore bag, he's infidelity like a motherfucker.
It's disrespectful.
You know, it's like, come on, man. So who's supposed to do what? Should I be quiet and not say this because I'm from Miami, because I know what he's really done, because I know the real scoop, because this, and that? Or is this one of those code of this? Or is it my duty to tell people out there, hey, man, even if you see a fighter on this, even if they claim that, even if they, you know, you got to believe a quarter of it and dig deeper to find out how they really are. There's very few people who really show who they are. Michael Bisbee, fuck yeah, that's who he really is. Vidal, that's who he really is. I think Mighty Mouse, that's who he really is. You can't say that about John Jones. Conor McGregor, unfortunately, that's who he really is. He's a fucking idiot right now. He fucking pissed away too much money for being stupid, but that's who he really is. These are people who, Khabib, that's who he really is. These are people who they really are. I respect that. That's what we talk about, keeping 100, being real, so on and so forth. Even coaches and how they are. That's who they really are. So I just hate when people get that limelight and they make others think the wrong thing. It's not misleading. It's not them.
Mm-hmm. It's deceptive.
It's the people who just think, oh, they're on TV. They're this, they're that. They can't be scum.
Yeah.
No, on the contrary.
They put this vision in their mind. Oh, my idol, this and this, and they put them up on a pedestal. Meanwhile, you don't even know who they are. You know, fanboys and fangirls do that, and that's another shit that I'm not down with. Fanboys and fangirls. Yeah. You're a fangirl, fanboy, man. Listen, no offense. I appreciate you being a fan, but I just can't vibe with that type of energy, fanboy, fangirl. I'm just not down with.
You praise another human being.
Yeah.
We're not on the same intellect.
Did you say that on your own, or have I told you that same thing? Because I say that shit all the time, bro.
No, that's just how I feel. That's because my dad said it feels the same way. If you praise another human being,
bro. I remember. I think it was 2 days ago.
There's nothing wrong with being fond of somebody.
Or admiring somebody for something.
Admiring.
But when you're of like, you know what I'm talking about, that overboard fanboy, fangirl,
100%.
Bro.
That becomes a weakness.
It's like that whole crying, like that crying when you see somebody. I'll never understand that.
Of course, we can never understand that. But even what he's talking about, when you show that, it's not that everybody thinks maliciously, but you have to think at some point, oh my God, you're so vulnerable right now. I can do anything I want with you.
Big time.
And then, boom, from that point on, everything changes. What you do with it is what you do with it.
R. Kelly right there.
I can piss on you right now, and you'll be okay with it.
Wes, what you said,
Why did you go there, bro? Why did you have to bring
Because I
R.
saw the
Kelly into
documentary.
this?
Hey Wes, what you said is real true.
Michael
man.
Jackson too.
That vulnerability.
Yes.
You make yourself vulnerable because those people, for the most part, that know you're a fanboy or fangirl, whatever it is, they'll know, and they're like, I got that.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and
So
lay it
so
out.
so here's the unfortunate part is Zach piggybacking exactly what you just said. I don't want to say that anybody will do it, but when you're given power, back to fucking Spider-Man, the original movie, son, with power comes great responsibility.
True that.
Okay, whose camera was that? What was that?
That was mine.
Was it okay. When people get given or allotted a certain power, doesn't matter what it is. Oh my God, baby, that was the best pussy ever. Boom, that's it. That bitch from here on now has you by the balls. You just fucking told her she has the best pussy ever. She's got you. And she might be a church girl. She might be like, oh, fuck. He just said I got the best shit ever. And then you just don't know what comes next. But to give somebody that much praisal, yes, man, it's a very touchy topic. I think you should only do it to, I don't know. I don't want to stick my guns to it, but parents, if they're the right ones. Figures, people who have such an impact on your life, like you talked about the teacher, those type of people. When Dustin, oh my God, I love that story. When Dustin did that for his wife after he won the interim, that shit almost made me cry.
It's touching, bro.
Bro, all I thought was, that's no disrespect, Dustin. That's a real bitch. That's a fucking ride or die bitch. That's a Bonnie and Clyde fucking story, if you can tell one. It's not about robbing. It's not about this. It's about that bitch said, you know what, Dustin, I don't even think you're that good, but I love you, motherfucker, and I'm going to show you my commitment until we're going to stop. So let's do this. And she fucking sacrificed, dog. And, you know, what he said that she did for him, broke, and the only one with the car and this and that. Like,
Bro, I mean, I've been around them, you know, a few times and stuff like that. And from what I see, it's like, you know, his relationship with his wife, that's his best friend.
Best friend. There you go. That's the best ideal relationship.
I love
dude.
that
Yeah.
shit, bro. Let me tell
That's
you
how it's
something.
supposed to be.
Bro,
That's what
that's
it's supposed
Gus.
to be.
It's
Gus
not.
hit it.
It's not. We've been through this, bro.
No,
You
man,
know,
Gus hit it.
we're
Gus hit
great.
it.
You know.
Gus hit it. That's Gus hit it, and that's the term I use. It's the way it's supposed to be.
It should not be somebody that you hold yourself back away from, that you give 90%, that, with your friends you're a certain way. No, you should.
No.
The same way you are with your wife or your girlfriend is the same way you should be with your best friends.
I'm not saying it has to be like this, but in my ideal world, my baby's hanging and banging right with us. We smoking, we talking shit, we watching football, we shooting
Exactly.
pool, we doing whatever. I want my girl
Exactly.
right fucking there.
Exactly.
That's what I'm
What's up,
talking
babe?
about.
What's up? Smack her on the ass.
I got
She can hug it out with y'all the same way I would hug it out with y'all. I'm not
Dude.
thinking nothing different. She's one. She's one of us.
Wes, I'm
She's
100,
one of us.
I'm 100 with
100%.
that. I'm 100 with that. It's like she got to be able to roll with me like that. You know what I mean? I want that. She got to be able to roll with me. And like that's the ideal situation of all situations in a
A
relationship.
lot of dudes don't
the
think
best,
like that.
It's
though,
the best
bro.
when it's like that. I've had that, so I see it. I've seen how it is, and that's the best way to have it.
So what about the dudes, and I don't want to get off topic because I know we're closing down, but what about the dudes who are literally like, yo, I got a bad mamma jamma. And I know that majority of dudes out there are scumbags, and I know that, you know, if I walk away from my girl, if I don't show enough domination, not on her, but towards the line, towards the, you know, the pack, the herd, somebody's gonna go up to her and disrespect me. Somebody's gonna go up to her and try to lure her. Somebody's gonna, you know, I gotta keep her on a short leash. What do you say to that?
Insecurities,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
100% insecurities.
I agree.
I'm like this. Look, I want her to be who she is, and I'm gonna love her because of who she is.
And if she's gonna be a hoe,
I ain't gonna be with her. I ain't gonna be a pimp.
Danny, you over here interrupting a podcast, my brother. You're the first phone call I ever answer on the podcast, and I'm only doing it because you're my brother. All right, brother. Yeah, because you have to let someone be. So I'm in agreement with, you know, if you got too much insecurity, you won't let them. If you got security, or if you feel like, hey, I might not feel that confident about her, but I'm gonna let her hang herself.
Yeah.
So go hang with the homies, because at the end of the day, I want you to hang with the homies. But if letting you hang with the homies is gonna bring the bitch out you and the hoe out you and the disrespectful whatever out you, then let that happen now.
You know what happens eventually? What happens? The truth reveals itself.
Yep.
Yes,
100%.
that's right.
So it's like, you can go ahead and not want to think that way. You're like, no, I don't want to think. But it's like, sometimes it's like the truth to reveal itself, because if she's real and she's your real ride or die, shit ain't going to happen like that. And if it does happen, she ain't your real ride or die.
It's crazy that we got Mikey Rod over here who was talking about gangster shit in fucking Harlem and upbringings and mob shit. And I don't even remember that Italian mobster's fucking name. What was his name? Tony what?
Salerno.
Tony Salerno. Tony, don't get me killed.
Listen, that's not even half of it. You should see when I worked with the organized crime group at an FBI group. Oh my God, there's more stories. And plus, growing up in that environment and working organized crime, as a detective, you see so much.
Well, this is definitely only one of many podcasts.
Yeah.
Many podcasts, whether it's going to be another Black Sheep perspective podcast or on that MMA tip when we got something hot going on or whatever. But Mikey, I can't tell you how much. I can be honest with you now. Not on some groupie love shit, man. But me and Gus were very, 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 very excited about today.
Yeah, especially me. I probably didn't show it, but that's why I've been quiet the whole time. I talk a lot. I've just been. I truly, after this, I do admire you.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
It's dope to have somebody like you on the show.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate. Listen, bro, I appreciate the love, and it's just I just like I said when we wanted me to come down, I said, listen, man, we're just gonna keep this shit 100. There's nothing for me that's off bounds. You ask me, and I tell you stuff.
Right.
I mean, as far as my personal life, my background, and because everything I've done in my life has led me here today. So I mean, it's all living, it's all lessons in life, and this is the path that's been laid out for me. So it's like this is where I am. So I mean, I can only do one thing in my life. If there's anything I can do, I can only do one thing, and I can only be honest and be truthful and be real. Nobody can take that away from me. Nobody can take my honor, my integrity away. Nobody. I can give it away. That's the only way somebody will have it.
People don't understand the how significant it is to do something like that. Like, it's kind of, I don't know, how can I say it? It's hard to convince fake motherfuckers to be real because they don't understand the quality of what's behind real. Because being real is very difficult because it comes with a lot of backlash. It comes with a lot of pain. It comes with like, damn, I had to tell Gus, you're not as cute as you think you are. You're looking kind of flat today.
You've never.
Your breath is a little funky. Whatever it might be, it's hard to tell somebody you care about. It takes a lot of balls to do that, especially if you care about them. So that needs to, in my opinion, that holds so much more ground. Therefore, it's so much easier to just be like, yeah, I'm not gonna say that. Yeah, I'm gonna this, and that's what we consider fake. So being real, being straightforward, being transparent, letting people know what it is that got you where you're at, why you are the way you are, and why you're gonna maintain this bar that you have. It's admirable, like Gus said, and I think it's dope. I think it's awesome.
And it's true, Wes. It's like, people, like I said before, I touched upon it earlier. They see your public image, they see your social media image, and they see they read about your successes in life and stuff like that. And I've had successes in my life. I've had failures. But, sometimes what they don't realize and some people don't see is that with a lot of that stuff, with your successes and your failures, comes a lot of pain. Yeah. And the pain that we have to deal with in life and stuff like that, whatever that pain may be. Everybody's different. I mean. What
was it that Biggie said? More money, more problems?
More money, more problems.
More money, more problems.
It's like, if you just saw me, just judge me by my public image on my social media, you wouldn't know anything about me.
Right.
You wouldn't know how I've been on my own since I'm like, 14, 15 years old. You know what I mean? You wouldn't even know the fact that I've slept in the street before.
Right.
In a cold tenement building in the hallway.
No one would ever think that you sold whatever dope you sold, Then eventually
make official disclaimer on that. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, whatever. Then eventually, became, military. Then eventually became a cop. Then, correctional officer. Then whatever happened throughout your CO, because I'll be honest with you, there was a CO who worked at the prison that I worked with. Mm-hmm. He was from New York. Mm-hmm. And he came to Orlando, which is where a lot of New Yorkers come to. Yeah. He came to Orlando, and he used to be almost everything you said. Almost everything you said. And you know what he did, bro? He showed me and one other inmate so much love. He brought us tattoo ink. He brought us food from the turf. I mean, it sounds like silly shit, but that was all his job at Jeopardy. And he did it for us. He did it for us because he felt this connection with us, and he showed us so much love to help us, survive in prison. So, again, hard decisions, way harder for you dealing with all these mob bosses and this and that. And then yet still you proceed and you become a detective and you keep going, and here you are, man. And I think it speaks volumes for anybody out there listening, and whether they might have been in your situation, they are in your situation, or they aspire to be in your situation. You gotta hustle, you gotta grind. You're gonna go through ups and downs. I think more importantly, what you kind of symbolize is hold your ground. Hold your ground. Set that bar up, and if you gotta raise it, you fucking raise it. And if you get kicked in the dick, guess what? All right, cool. I don't want to get kicked in the dick again, so I'm gonna raise that bar even more. Don't fucking lower it. Don't settle for less. Don't go the rinky-dink way. Keep it 110.
For sure.
And it's always gonna progress in your life, right?
That's the truth.
Might be a painful road, but most of the time it works. Most of the time it works, man. Man, Mikey, I love you to death, bro. I can't wait. We're going to do this again real soon because I know...
Bro, let me know.
Listen, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get Knucklehead fucking Fred, Damian McLean. We're going to bring his ass down here. You're going to sit right there beside him, and it's going to be a fiasco. It's going to be part 2 of what the fuck, whatever happens. My boy Gus is going to be right there. Please, man, let everybody out there know where can they follow you at. I don't have a Twitter. All I do is Instagram. And
I have a
Facebook.
Twitter, but I don't mess with it no more. I mean, I have Instagram. It's Mikey Rod Fots.
Fights. I fought a fight or two.
Too many punches. Yeah. My Instagram is Mikey Rod Fight Science. It's on Instagram. Mikey Rod.
Any
Fight
apostrophes,
Science.
underscores?
Yeah, Mikey Rod _ Fight Science.
Damn, but hey, Gus, you've been sharp today, bro.
Let me get
Who
it
is
right.
this?
Let me get it
I
right.
love the new guys. I love the
right.
new guys. We're going places.
Let's figure it out. Okay, because now it's actually Mikey Rod _ Fight _ Science.
There you go. Even better.
On Instagram.
So everybody out there, man, please, man, go follow my dude, my homeboy, Mikey. Go ahead, don't put that finger
and then if you follow me, don't be trying to slide up in my DMs with some stupid shit.
Yeah, man. Listen, he was just talking lovey-dove shit. Like, let that become what it becomes. If it ain't shit, then he'll hit you up with a DM. Okay. Or I don't even know how Mikey balls, but if he doesn't succeed with Miss whoever,
I'm a gentleman.
Yeah, you definitely are. I'll tell you what, everybody out there can catch us though, man. You'll probably catch us real soon on the beach, real soon. Once all this hurricane shit passes through, I'm definitely gonna take a ride up there to Deerfield, right? That's the beach that you guys go for.
Yeah, the beach I frequent is Deerfield Beach, but I call it Deerfield de Janeiro. Deerfield de Janeiro because a bunch of brasileiros.
Oh, yeah.
For real?
Yeah, dude. Bro, hey, Fort Lottie or Broward is full of Brazilians. You wouldn't know it until you go there.
Porra.
Whatever that means, yeah. I know they got a bunch of sexy chicks. I love Brazilian chicks.
They have two sides.
For any of you guys watching,
they have the ones that are really, really manly, and then they have the ones that are really, really sexy.
Listen, no homo. I'm okay with the manly ones as long as you know your place. Just don't be so, Yo, I don't like a little girly girl. I'm keeping it real. I don't
swole.
I don't like. Hold up, chill out now. Hold up.
With a little bit of
You're
muscle.
You're gonna get a transy to send me some DM. I'm gonna get bombarded with tranny DMs and whatnot. Is this swollen up for you? Nah. But I do like some muscle. I do like some ripness. What I do like is
how you doing?
I like some womanliness, man. I like some like, what's up? What are we doing? Let's go work out. Let's go this. I never fished before, but I'll fucking punch a fish in the forehead. Whatever, I don't like that girly shit.
Like
I don't.
Aquaman.
But anyhow, Mikey, man.
My heart. Let me tell you something. If she comes out and says, "Let's train," my heart starts pumping. Boom, boom, boom.
I'll give her a shout out because she's down to just a few left. I'll give my ex a shout out where she used to do that, man. I used to love that about her. She was about that. She was about
she was
training
good too.
she was good, because she had a great coach. She was good too. Okay. But hey, man, some things are more important than others. And as much as MMA, training is amazing, if you got way more important shit that's not balancing out, our equation, then it's time to move on. And that's what happened. And it's time to move on right here. So, my boy Mikey Rodriguez, infamous, my dude, man, it's been such a blessing. It's been an honor. I can't wait till the next one. Gus, you were fucking phenomenal today, dog. You can tell we're getting our shit together, huh? We're getting our shit together.
Before we end, Mikey, super, super happy to be able to talk to you. I was telling Wes, I was really, really excited about it.
Yeah.
Being able to get the insight from somebody else, it's an honor to speak to you. Wes, super grateful for you and your friendship.
Thank you,
bring
brother.
me along on this.
Thank you, brother.
I'll never take it for granted.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. Everybody listening out there, please don't forget, follow me at Black Sheep 305 on Instagram. I pretty much don't got anything else. I would not give you my email, you sick bastards. And follow Gus at Gus_V. Oh.
Just Gus Villamil. I'm the OG Gus Villamil. There's no one else.
You're not
like
an
me.
OG, bro.
There's nobody like
you
me.
can't talk like that in front of fucking Mikey Rod. You can't
I'm
say
kidding.
that.
I'm not the OG. My dad's the OG.
But follow Gus at Gus Villamil. I hate to say it like that. VILLAMIL Villamil. On Instagram. He doesn't really get much down with anything else. And guys, if you're catching this now, I don't know when you're gonna catch it. We've been holding back a little bit on the podcast only because of just minor setbacks. But we're about to be on and popping. And Mikey's probably the second one since we've gotten legit, but to me, the most important guest that we've had, and I've been so much,
thank you, my man.
hyped up for. That's like without a doubt, man.
100%,
So
100%.
looking forward to so many more big things, man. Hey, everybody out there, be safe, show love, be optimistic, be positive, and remember all the things that Mikey told us, man. Just be patient, wait for it, set the bar high. Keep striving. Don't let all these bad influences make you feel like you can't take it to the next level, because you can. He's one of the biggest examples of it. And man, love, peace, and hair grease, man. Out here.
Deuces.